Welcome everybody to Immortal League Semifinals. I'm Zazakel, joined here by Quacks. We have a rematch of Week 1. Dorado versus LA. Dorado came out on top in Week 1, but obviously that was a long time ago. LA is looking to right the ship here. Quacks, how you doing? Are you excited for today?
Yup, absolutely. This is the calm before the storm, Zaz. One of these teams is going to be participating in the Immortal League Finals for the summer split. And both of these teams looking to be those guys. On one hand, you got Dorado, an organization that has been around for so long, racked up so many chips, and is so synonymous with success in the Tier 3 and now Tier 2 scene that they've been in the NACL, made their debut there this split. And then you've got Legacy Amber, the team that, like you said, Zaz, took a game off of them, came first out of their group, and are the favorites to likely win this series. So it's a battle of the Titans. It's a battle of organizations that have been, like I said, very used to being successful here this split, but only one of them is going to be able to make it to that top two and that date in the grand finals next week.
Absolutely, and what an exciting time. Always love seeing these playoffs, especially, 5-game baggers. We're hoping for something like that today. But what are you looking for from these two teams? Because again, you're mentioning how LA probably the favorites coming into this, but Dorado obviously is the one that defeated them in Week 1. So what are you expecting from both of these teams? Early on, especially with the new patch, a lot of champions have been nerfed, not many buffed. So like, what kind of strategy are you looking for both of these teams as we head into a draft here for Game 1?
I don't think we're going to be seeing too many aberrations off of this new patch. Obviously, you have nerfs to champions like Pantheon and Rel and Braum and Alistar, who have been pretty popular in the roles that we have seen them. A lot of those engage supports have been knocked down a little bit, but I still think they're going to dominate the meta. I think the armor nerfs over to Alistar and Braum, while they will hurt them in the lane, still having that disengage, that lockdown, and the engage as well, sort of that duality that they bring for your team, going to be really useful. And honestly, I don't think a clear speed nerf is going to do it for Pantheon. I think that man will still be strong. Maybe not the best jungler on the patch, but still, I expect him to be relevant in this series. As to what I'm looking for the teams here, Zaz, I am looking at them to come out of the gate swinging and be creative with how they approach drafts, because we're in a best of 5 situation, and this is fearless environment, which means that you are going to be having those champions taken away. If you go down and you slam a powerful pick, you better make sure it wins, because you will not get a second chance with it. So being able to, I think, work in strong champions with your own personal sort of preferential picks is going to be instrumental to these teams being able to withstand the storm that is a best of 5.
Absolutely. I am still under the impression that Fearless is one of the best changes to League.
Oh, yeah.
It makes draft so much more interesting. As we head into draft here for Game 1, I just love the fact that, again, there's so much more strategy now. You never see repeats. No salty runbacks, so, like, there's a bit of a trade-off, but absolutely is an amazing change to League, as we see early bans so far going to be Gwen taken out by LA, who are on blue side here for Game 1, and Pantheon on the other side for Dorado.
Yep, still respecting that Pantheon pick. I think that Dorado Gaming would be smart to probably ban out Full Clear. We had, I believe, one stream, at least that I was on, where we actually covered Legacy Amber, and you could definitely tell that Full Clear and Bok Choy, I think, were the two that stood out to me. I think not only was their individual talent really strong, but the confluence that they bring to the team when they actually link up and start making plays together, it's beautiful. It's what wins them games, and it's something that Dorado have to be very mindful of, as we're seeing in the drafts, those bans being targeted toward those two positions. But what are they going to anticipate that Legacy will pick up here for the first pick? You do have some strong B1s open. That Ambessa is there. That Corki is there. It's just a matter of what direction Legacy Amber are thinking of going.
And it is the Xin Zhao picked up, probably just one of the most stable junglers in the entire game. Great early game, great team fight, is just going to be a solid first pick here for LA, and it's responded to probably the most common counter for this champion in the Trundle. So definitely getting your jungle picks out early here on this one, as we see already 2 amazing duelists here for both of these junglers.
And you're going to see that Dorado going to, continue their pick with a Sivir. So leaving that bot lane open-ended as to what they want to do. It's kind of a question of, are they going to slam a mid laner? Because we're expecting Legacy Amber to probably pick a mid here, either on 2 or 3. They're going to leave it ambiguous for the time being, as Vladimir can fill both of those niches. Is a decent flex that I think is getting a lot more attention recently, Zaz. It's been a very underrated pick for a very long time, and I'm glad to see people starting to pick it up. But I do worry about its capability blind. Eventually, it is going to have to show where it goes, and I think that will give Dorado on the red side an opportunity to aptly respond. For the time being, though, assuming that it does go mid, they're just going to slam that Hui, something that outranges it, something that can deal consistent damage, and most importantly, can take advantage of, I think, Vladimir's weakest trait in the early game, which is very little wave clear. You're just going to shove him under the turret, and you're going to give this Trundle a lot of priority to make aggressive plays.
As we see relatively mirror drafts here, both teams have selected their mid laners, have selected their ADCs as well as junglers, so expecting a lot of top support bans here, as we already see the Ambessa and Darius taken out by Dorado, and on the other side, Rel is going to be the first ban, as we are waiting now to see it is going to be Karma. So again, two top laners, 2 supports take it out for both of these teams, as we are going to see a blind pick here as well for Dorado. What are you expecting here from the final few picks? Is Sion is the first one picked up here for the side of Dorado.
I like that they're giving support counter pick. I think it is still very valuable to have, especially when LA also haven't revealed whether or not this is going to be Vlad top or mid. You have to think about the swaps as well. What champion is going to be good into that, potentially going into a 1v2 situation, and I think Sion is able to do that very, very effectively. So I like that pick. And now LA, it looks like they have revealed where this is going to go. I would imagine this is probably Yone mid, Vladimir top. So Dorado Gaming Alpha, now is the time to sort of throw in your support pick. What will be paired up with this Sivir? It's going to be Janna. So
one of the safest bot lanes I think you could have drafted here, but I actually predict that it is going to be Yone top, just based off of champion, just based on op.gg's for both of these players. Vladimir is one of Bok Choi's best. It's in his top 3, 62% win rate. I would be pretty surprised if it doesn't go his direction, but of course, have to still keep that in mind, that it can absolutely still go top. It's a double flex for both of these players, absolutely. But if we look on the side of Dorado, they just have probably one of the safest lanes across all 3. I mean, Sion is going to be incredibly tanky, especially if he is into that. Yone might struggle a little bit, just because, you know, Yone's will be able to poke him down pretty easily, but Hui is able to stand at his tower. I mean, Sivir, Janna, probably one of the safest bot lanes that you could possibly pick. So definitely is going to be a bit of a struggle here for Full Clear to see where he can influence these lanes.
My biggest question mark for both of these teams definitely lies in their engages. I feel like a lot of the, you know, sort of go buttons that you would ordinarily think of, things like the Yone ult, things like the Xin Zhao, those are a bit difficult, I think, in this game, because Yone goes in and he doesn't have anyone to back him up. He's just going to immediately pop, and then I think the same will probably go for the Xin Zhao, who, against this long-range bot side that we talked about, super safe bot side, Zaz, that you mentioned, he's basically not making use of one of his best tools, which is that crescent guard block, right? So you're going to be going into a comp that is long ranged and can deal as much damage to you as you can to it. What I will say, though, where I think I give Legacy Amber the advantage is over scaling. I think that the combination of Vlad, Yone, and Senna in the late game is just a extremely scary prospect. And it also doesn't help that I think Dorado Gaming Amber's best early game champion, being Trundle, is basically going to be on a timer to make his stuff happen, because eventually he'll fall off. He's just going to be an alt bot, and I don't really feel like he'll have a ton of uses once those 5v5s come around post 25 minutes. So I think if Legacy Amber can just kind of relax a little bit, if they can obviously give, you know, Full Clear the ability to influence the lanes, but don't overextend for plays, and particularly on those objectives, they should be in a spot around that 20-minute mark to, I think, fight either the third dragon or who knows. Sooner than Herald.
Absolutely, and what I am hoping for from these teams, again, you're saying that there is a bit of a lack of engage from both, but range is going to be, again, looking for the poke game from both these teams. Senna is going to scale immensely with Rage. Sivir, Hui are great poke champions as well, so I think it's just going to be a matter of who can get to these objectives first, get the proper setup, and make sure that their team is in a strong spot to, you know, play these fights and take the easy victories in these exchanges. But final little point here before we head into game one for you, Quacks. Looking again, keeping in mind everything, including, you know, the fact that Dorado has been the only team to defeat LA all season. The base taking these drafts into consideration, who do you have taking game one and putting themselves into a dominant spot in this series early on?
I like LA's draft a lot more. Obviously, I think that Dorado Gaming Alpha's, you know, ability to have range, to be able to stall the game out, and most importantly, I think to wave clear. That's also something that we briefly alluded to, but I don't think we really expanded on it as. Could make it difficult for LA to actually close out this game. But I think when it comes down to fights, you know, eventually once Vlad gets 2 items, once Yone gets 2 items, what Senna gets around that 75 to 100 stack timer, it's going to be a really difficult world, I think, for Dorado to actually find a lot of these wins that they're hoping for. And this isn't a comp that wants to be fighting early. It just kind of feels like Dorado Gaming have a scaling comp, but Legacy Amber, they have a better scaling comp. They brought a bigger gun.
Absolutely, and welcome everybody to game one of the semifinals. This is where your entire season has been building up towards, looking to punch your ticket into the Immortal Finals. Both of these teams, a lot on the line. We will see just what they are able to accomplish here. Looked like there might have been some level 1 shenanigans, but USA JJ just backs up, and they do get the ward on the Raptors, but outside of that, nothing else is going to happen.
Yeah, both teams going to get that little snippet of information as to where the enemy jungler is starting. You can see USA JJ is actually going completely around the terrain to avoid that, but will probably be seen once he gets onto those Raptors. Same goes for full clear. So they'll be pathing opposite from each other. I wonder if this is going to result in maybe full clear in particular, because he's on blue side, going for that top side, and then once the ward dies, he can maybe look for an aggressive play onto his counterpart. It's just a matter of if, you know, Legacy Amber's bot lane can get priority. It's a tough world to see that happening, but, you know, you always want to keep in mind that Xin Zhao, like we said, is a champion that wants to fight early, and that could give him an opportunity to do just that.
Absolutely, and I mentioned in draft is that out of all of the lanes that full clear will be able to influence, I feel like top lane is going to be the easiest. So I like that he is pathing that way, just because how in any world will you be ganking a Sivir Janna? How will you be able to impact a Hui if he just stands at his tower? It is going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, anything can happen during the game, but I really think that trying to snowball this Yone will be their best bet, especially early on.
I would definitely agree with you. Yone, one of the strongest champions later on. Not only is he good in the team fights and the dueling, but he's really good in side lanes. And I feel like Bai has the ability to basically completely trap Apex just on sides as a Scion. Say, fight me for the rest of the game. Eventually, I'll outscale you. As we are seeing both junglers continuing their full clear. Full clear himself, not actually going to call. You can see Bai has already started pushing in this lane, which leads me to believe there probably isn't going to be an opportunity for full clear to actually make something happen. I think Scion, especially with Grasp, is going to be plenty healthy, especially also has that pot. So I don't think a dive will even be possible, even when you have this guy at around 25% HP, if you have him there.
Yeah, especially with the amount of CC and shielding that Zion can bring, it is going to be very, very difficult to make that happen. I think that Bai is just trying to get that bounce so that the wave, you know, crashes back towards him as his jungler enters towards the top side, but we will see if he is able to manipulate the wave in that way. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, again, this is just the most, let's scale, let's just get as much CS as we can as we look for plays around these objectives for both of these teams, I feel.
You can see on that top side, full clear actually skipped Crab to make a play on top. The wave, he's actually not letting it bounce. Bai is at a really low HP threshold because he's not letting that wave crash. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we have something going on in mid as Bok Choy is going to drop into that pool, and he does pop the ghost, but not needing to use that flash, does manage to get out.
Uh-oh. He's
Oh
on a
no,
ward.
Bai is standing on a ward and does suspect that something is going awry, so he will back off. Bit of a waste of time there for Bai. Sad to recall on a ward, but we'll manage to get away to safety.
At the end of the day, though, I think it's Dorado winning out on a lot of these trades. They don't get any kills, but you can see Ghost burned by Bok Choy in mid, Flash burned by Bai in top, and it will allow, I think, the solo laners to play a little bit further up. The USA JJ going to have to be a little bit more present and active around these solo lanes to keep track of how these waves are bouncing, because there is an opportunity somewhere here as the Trundle. This is your time to really make something happen. I think at worst, though, they should be able to garner control of this dragon and this bot side river that is spawning in less than 10 seconds.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to see where these teams prioritize their objectives. Again, with Zinzao pathing top, it might be he's looking for these grubs to try and help the Yone on the split push against Sion, who notoriously is a very, very good split pusher. But meanwhile, again, I Loves You is just getting kind of smacked around by Apex here. Both of the top laners have got the culls, so there will be a little bit more sustained for both of these top laners, but early on, just the trades are going over to Apex.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Apex is dominating in top, and you can see full clear might actually be... Oh, hang on.
Actually, here we go, and the flash from Apex is enough to keep him alive for now, as I Loves You just miscalculated slightly there to not able to pick up the solo kill, but now both these top laners are just looking. Apex now has 6, so does Bai. He ults it, but misses it. Apex
he got him!
Turns it around. The solo kill, first blood for Sion in the top lane.
Full clear is going to likely pick up the receiving kill.
Oh,
I have to imagine, right? Okay, there we go.
All right.
Yep.
But Apex tried his best. Oh, I thought he was actually going to get out there, but picks up the solo kill. Well played to him, and that is definitely going to give him a bit of quite an advantage up there in the top lane. But the trade on the other side of the map is USJJ, and his bot lane will pick up that first dragon.
I actually still think it's worth it for Dorado. They trade 1 for 1. They also get the first blood. That wave in top crashed, so Bai actually ended up missing a decent amount of CS and a decent amount of experience on this Yone, a champ that needs those resources, right, Zaz? And meanwhile, Sion, a champion that is notoriously strong regardless of his economy. So it is a dragon. It is a trade of kills. The late game seems like it's starting to coast toward Dorado by getting that early Hex Tech. And like we said before, the late game is the key to the victory of this first match.
Absolutely. And again, another freeze here for Apex as I Loves You is going to be, not in the best spot. Again, we wanted this Yone to get that snowball going, but early on, just the trades were going Sion's way, and meanwhile, we do have some fighting going on in both of these lanes. Once again, the top laners are very, very low, and the Bai Loves You just not enough to take out the Sion. And meanwhile, USHJ, there is no flash on the Yone, who might find himself in a heck of a lot of trouble here as bash comes the Trundle. Another kill up in the top lane as Bai falls for the second time.
And this is huge for Apex. He's going to be able to crash that top lane wave, recall, and then sync up with his jungler around these grubs coming up in about 10 seconds. And full clear really has no way to force the issue. He's on the bot side. He has prio and mid. The best thing they can do right now is try to use that mid jungle synergy to maybe get an early foothold while this Sion is recalled. But it is just, yet again, at the end of the day, it's another kill going over to Dorado. Their early game piece is starting to get more and more overpowered here 8 minutes in. And it looks like Legacy are indeed going to move toward that top side. Bok Choice pushing in Nissan will be enough for this objective to, at the very least, be in control for the time being of Legacy Amber.
Yeah, but Bok Choy, we do have to acknowledge, is quite a bit ahead in CS in this mid lane, so that could be an opportunity. And the grubs have been picked up by LA that, like you said, I thought with the advantage
Ooh, they're
that
caught
Dorado would be
hard,
able to
rock in
take
the
it. But
hard
here we go.
place.
The fight coming out in mid lane. USAJJ forced to flash the wall. Abaya Loves You is looking for Shiro here. Will he be able to pick it up? Yes, he will. So that's a kill in response. But Sion in the bot lane actually able to
Yeah.
solo kill the Senna means that the feats of warfare will go over to the side of Dorado.
Apex getting the solo bolo on the bot side, making the Bouse proud. That means he'll be able to pick up a couple of plates potentially, as well as just overall getting a lot of CS and gold over to himself. But still, those grubs going over to Legacy Amber, it just kind of felt like Dorado were a little too late on the swap. It gave that small window for LA to walk onto that topside river and secure those objectives. So that will mean they will be at least just as deadly as Apex in the sides if they are allowed to hit those turrets. But as you can see, Dorado are in no position to let that happen, as we actually are going to get a replay here on the bot side. And I think it was just at the end of the day, it was Places Talbo getting too far up and the Scion being too tanky. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is just, top laner versus early game ADC is just never going to go the ADC's way. Meanwhile, still, Apex is against this 1v2 right now, but is still holding his own. Sion again, very,
USA
very
sneaking in
tanky,
here.
very, very tough. But meanwhile, looks like there's going to be a collapse here as the jungler is behind, and there is no
Knock-up
flash on the
lands.
ADC. This is going to be a very, very tough call. The ult coming through from the Braum, but is that going to be enough? The pillar is placed. Senna is slowed. Down he goes, and USAJJ will pick up that kill. Full clear, trying to back up his team as much as he can. Does get the ulted, but USAJJ is still too tanky.
Bok Choy on the flag, the teleports.
But the ultimate from Shiro will push them away, but that's not going to be enough as Vladimir picks up his first kill. The teleport's coming in from both of the remaining players. Everyone is in bot lane for this early game ARAM, and the ultimate from the way is not going to be enough to take out the Braum. But meanwhile, there's another kill traded for both of these teams. So far, I think it was a two for two, as there's three members left, but they're so low on the side of LA. Bok Choy is looking to make something happen on this Vlad, and Nashti is able to make his escape. But meanwhile, Vlad dips into the pool, but is not going to get his Q back in time. And Dorado, that was one of the longest fights I've ever seen, and they are going to come out on top. The Senna ultimate is not going to do anything for him, as that is going to be overall a huge team fight win going over to Dorado.
Good spell shield there by the end of, from Nashti. But what a messy, aggressive, and prolonged fight from both of these squads. But we're not done yet, Zaz.
Absolutely, as now Place Talbo is going to fall again to the Scion as Apex pops the ultimate and runs him down. Kills now 8-4 for Dorado as they now have a comfortable 1,000 gold lead in this early game.
And Bai is going to have to respond to Apex pushing in the top lane. That means a man advantage for Dorado on the other side of the map. They only have 3 members. Meanwhile, Dorado have 4, as well as that pushing mid lane. So Nissan should have no issue joining up with his team if it comes down to it. And it looks like it's not going to. LA will concede this dragon. So it's now 2 objectives into the arms of Dorado. 1 more, and they should be able to acquire those feet, Zaz. They are just playing the map better at the current moment. Legacy Amber thought they had the angle with that bot lane fight, but they didn't. But maybe they have another chance here on top.
All right, but Bok Choy does not have the pool, does have to play a little bit safer, does get that heal off, but Apex has flash, doesn't have ult. Will he be able to make his escape? Gets knocked up, so is not able to use the Q at the shutdown. Going over to Bok Choy. That's exactly what LA were looking for.
Yeah, Bok Choy getting the kill. By far the most fed member on Legacy Amber so far. 3-1. Already has that Cosmic Drive completed. So first item power spike there for the Vlad. It's only going to get more dangerous. The big question for me regarding Dorado is, who are you going to send? What angle are you going to try and take and approach to take care of this Vladimir? Because you simply let him scale, you simply let him side lane like he's doing in the top lane right now and push these waves in, he's going to run you over. That bot lane play where he almost turned the fight around, that was simply a taste. He's going to be dishing you out knuckle sandwiches if you aren't being active at stopping him.
Absolutely. Again, there are still a lot of potential here for the side of LA. Yes, a lot of the enemy are ahead, but definitely still going to be in a decent spot here, as Again, what are you looking for from LA to try and turn this around here?
Yeah, looks like we're a little bit frozen, folks, for the time being as we wait for the game to coast back onto live. So treat this as a pause, as oh
Mhm.
boy, we might have a little bit more of a pause for the time being, as this is not something we're used to seeing, Zaz. But honestly, the thing that I'm looking for in regards to Dorado is, like I said, gotta stop bok choy. This is Vladimir. You, I would say, don't have a champion on your team. You have scalers, right? Like you have Sivir, you have all of these champions that do well in the late game. Vladimir is a late game nuclear bomb. He is one of the hyper carries that can turn a game on its head, flip it around, and send it into space once he gets 3 items. So you have to be proactive at trying to stop him. As it does look like I'm hearing from our producer that we are going to take a small little break. We have some power issues happening. So we're going to wait for those to resolve themselves. And when they do, we will be right back. You can count on it, and we'll see you soon.
You do like you do like crazy, oh 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy, crazy, oh oh crazy, oh 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 crazy, 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 you do like crazy, oh do like crazy, oh
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We do apologize for the delay here. Nasty storms happening on the East Coast right now, so unfortunately, our producer lost power, but we are going to get back into game here very, very shortly. We do just have to give a quick warning. It is going to say replay. We do apologize for that. It is just catching up to the mainstream, and will be still live. So we are going to pick up where we left off. We apologize for the visual bug kind of deal. But the replay will disappear eventually, so just really, really sorry about that. But we're picking up from 15 minutes. So we have a fight now, right off the bat, coming in the river here. As meanwhile, we have both of these squads located as Bok Choy picking up the first kill onto Shiro. Is going to have to flee away from Nissan, who's dashing back on. Full clear is going to actually take out Nissan, but here comes the Scion.
Ooh,
Full clear now might be in a little bit of trouble as USNJJ is trying to find something. It's a triple kill picked up for Bok Choy. Quadra kill. Oh my goodness, we just hopped right back into Legacy just turning the game all the way around. That just came out of nowhere there.
Yeah, Legacy absolutely dominating in that topside fight right as we come back as well, Zaz. We came back at a good time, particularly for the Legacy Amber fans, as they are going to be the ones that end up claiming the Herald on that top side. So it is going to be a kill as well as objectives claimed from that. My big question is, it looks like, I thought we were briefly paused there for a moment, but it looks like we are, right back to what we said could not happen for the side of Dorado. You can't let this Vladimir get ahead. And now, you as Dorado, your job of shutting him down just became a whole lot harder.
Absolutely. 7-1 now on this Vladimir. 7 of his team's 9 kills. That is got to be a very, very tough position for Dorado to be in right now. The rest of their team is ahead in most of their lanes, but now all of a sudden Bok Choy has just become an absolute raid boss. It is going to be very, very difficult to shut down here.
You could see that Dorado are trying. They've got someone in the side lane to maybe look to put a stop to the Vladimir pushing and just getting farmed for free. But at the end of the day, Scion isn't really a champion that can stop Vladimir, can't really fight him and force the issue. So yeah, you're sending your most powerful member, but you're not sending your highest damage member is the problem, Zaz. So it means Vlad can keep on free farming. Scion can't really stop him. And to make matters worse, the rest of Legacy Amber charge the Herald in mid and almost take the turret. One more hit should do the trick. They're even going to take the dragon and stop the soul stacking.
Absolutely. So again, all of a sudden, just off one fight, Legacy now in a very, very good spot. A little sad that turret did go down, but is likely going to be able to take it whenever they'd like. And I do need to mention that one of our handy content creators here, QuazTech, did mention in his predictions that Legacy, their strongest member, is Bok Choy. If he could get ahead, he is someone who can become an absolute problem, and it is 100% coming through here. As we can see, this Vladimir now has full reign over this game.
He absolutely does. You could see that they're trying to make a cross map play, but they have no wave now, and the turret is just free hitting onto USA.
Oh, but there's the setup of it, and that is going to be enough. They tried to take out the tower, but it's not going to work, and Senna finally on the board with her first kill.
Absolute snipe coming out there from Places Talblow. And look, even on the other side, they're trying to force down the turret. They don't have a wave, so it is actually just going to be 2 failed turret take attempts by both teams. The difference, though, being that Legacies didn't result in one of them being killed.
I think we need to tell people that it's really hard to take these turrets without their minions, but they seem to be trying no matter what. But luckily, that last tower shot did not come through, and Full Clear is able to make his escape. We do have 2 people up in this top lane. Shiro might be looking for a tornado, but Bai is still able to walk away. Nothing too concerning there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Bai is still going to be okay. As we can see, that mid lane turret is standing on sticks and stones. Zaz, one gentle little breeze, and it should be knocked over.
I didn't hear no bell. He's up. He's still fighting, but definitely is the most important turret to take. So a little sad here for the side of Legacy that it did not go down, but like you said, I feel like a light breeze will be enough to knock it over. So hopefully they will be able to take that and gain a little bit more position here on the map. But as we are nearing now, we looks like we only need 1 more minute until we are live, quote unquote, live again. Just because we will want to get rid of that replay screen. But again, we do apologize for the technical issues, but you know, Storm's tough to navigate around. So
yeah, and now 20 minutes in, I am glad that we're here though, as the Otacon is up. It's on that bot side, which I can't. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Zaz. I'm surprised it spawns there because Otacon spawns where you've seen the most action. Whichever lane has seen more action is where Otacon goes, and we have seen solo kills, we have seen fighting, we have seen 2v2s across the board, tower dives on that top side. So the fact that he chose this part of the map to sink onto is a little bit of a surprise to me, but nonetheless is going to be the one that, for the time being, I think heavily actually favors Dorado, as they still have a turret standing there. It feels like that Legacy Amber bot side tier 1 is also standing on sticks and stones.
all right, and thank you for your patience, everybody. We are back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you for bearing with us. And like we said, now Legacy with a very comfortable gold lead sitting at around 2.5K. Although all of a sudden, what the heck happened top lane as Nissan picks up a solo kill on Dubai. I loves you. Fortunate we were not able to catch that, but meanwhile we are still looking around at this Atacon here. Dragon spawning in a minute as well. I feel like just a massive slugfest is going to take place here in the next minute down in this river.
And before that happens, Zaz, I want you to look at the CS that Bok Choy has. A 225 CS at less than 22 minutes. This man has over 10 CS per minute and almost has his 3rd item completed. That is one difficult cookie to crack.
This is a terrifying Vladimir, man.
It really is. And I mean, realistically, Dorado don't really have, I think, a very easy way to actually get to him. You obviously have some healing cut coming from Nashti, but that Sivir, if it gets, you know, within range of a Vladimir, if it gets too close, one toe out of line, it's not just going to lose the toe. It's going to lose the foot, the leg, and the whole body will be ripped to shreds. So it's a pretty, like you said, Zaz, terrifying prospect to have Dorado Gaming try and put a stop to this Vladimir. But I suppose the silver lining is they do own the river and will be having Legacy Amber come into them. So what is LA going to do?
Again, with the lack of engage on both of these teams, whoever gets that first movement onto the objective will have the advantage, as it is just straight taken here by the side of Dorado, puts them on soul point, but now they have to, they're putting a full retreat as Bok Choy is on the flank, but might be caught out. The ultimate for the Hwei will go wide, but Bok Choy
is so deep, though.
And he is in a lot of trouble.
He's running!
Is looking for it and will get the kill onto Bok Choy. That is a huge here for the side of Dorado, as now all of a sudden all the damage seems to be gone from Legacy, but they are very low. They invested a lot of resources to take out this Vladimir, and Apex is tanking 3 of the enemy team, and it just cannot kill him. And it's going to be a huge kill and a huge fight so far. Nissan is dead, but that don't matter, as now it is Dorado running the map. Vladimir is dead, and you cannot escape. As meanwhile, here's the pillar, and will also go down. That is an ace for Dorado, and it's going to be a free Otacon on the menu.
Legacy Amber over Chase, and they don't just lose a dragon, they don't just lose all of their members, they're gonna lose all of that, plus an Otacon now, as Dorado Gaming Alpha, from the losing position, from the fact that Vladimir was 7-1, they come back, they catch Bok Choy out of position, the Vladimir is overextended, and now they are going to get a massive advantage in tempo. That solo point going to loom over Legacy Amber for the rest of the game. And you gotta think, Zaz, that they are going to kick it into overdrive, try and make plays, and if Dorado Gaming anticipate this, they can try and capitalize off those plays like they did in the early game.
Now it is gut check time for both of these teams. The gold is relatively even, but is in favor of Dorado. But again, the problem is all of the gold is on this Vladimir, and if he goes down like he did in
Yeah.
this fight, there's just nothing that they could do. Apex was tanking up 3 of the enemy, and it just did not matter. He was totally fine. And so that is definitely going to be a really, really important point here for the side of LA, as Bok Choy needs to stay alive if they have any chance in these team fights.
Yeah, they need to be protecting their mid laner. It felt like Bok Choy just ran up a little too far there, face checked against Dorado, and frankly, I feel like Legacy Amber probably should have given it up after the dragon. Your main objective by fighting that was to prevent the soul point, but the soul point was already gone. You failed at your main objective. It just felt like over chasing from that point onward, and it gives
Oh,
Dorado so much more gold. As USA, I would be surprised if he actually goes for this. He might try and steal the red, though.
yeah, this is a sneaky. He's just gonna pop it and smite it. Oh, I think actually, I don't think he got it. I think.
Oh, no, you didn't. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, no, sorry. The stream got a little pixelated there for me, so I couldn't see the buffs. But it looks like absolute a good secure there for the Zinzao. But a fight is now breaking out as Full Clear is the first one to go down as Sivir picks up that kill. But here comes the rest of the team to try and navigate this fight. And Bok Choy is doing as much work as he possibly can. Has used the pool already and is now knocked up several times, and that is not going to do it as the rest of LA are running away, but they aren't going to find any salvation in this game. It's a 5-0 for Dorado, and that'll likely be the end of game 1.
Out of nowhere, somehow Dorado, you blink and you miss it. 2 fights go their way. 2 objectives get claimed by them. The Soul be damned. The Baron be damned. Dorado Gaming Alpha want to get out of here as soon as possible. They will run over game 1. Bok Choy was just a bump in the road. They're going 1,000 miles per hour to get to the finals, Zaz.
Absolutely. It looked a little dicey after that quadra kill, but like you said, the rest of the game, it was pure domination from Dorado Gaming Alpha as they pick up game 1 here in outside of, one team fight.
Yeah.
Very, very dominant fashion. I don't think they lost any other fights in that game. Very, very well done. Yes, the Vladimir was scary for a little bit, but as soon as they figured out if you just kill the Vladimir, we win the game. And as soon as they figured that out, it was curtains here for the side of LA.
Yeah, and a lot of credit over to USA JJ and Apex in particular. I think USA was constantly ulting the Vladimir in those last 2 fights that we saw them actually kill Bok Choy. So it significantly reduced the tankiness of Bok Choy and just made him such an easy target. And then Apex as well was kind of like those police at a crime scene where they're trying to hold back the entire crowd while there's a murder weapon and like an investigation going on. He was patrolling the area, making sure no other Legacy Amber, esports members could actually help their lone mid laner when he did get caught out. So massive credit over to those 2. And I think the whole of Dorado Gaming Alpha, now with the momentum of a win in game number 1, are just going to be trying to propel themselves forward to a 3-0.
All right, so game 1 in the books. We are going to be going to a quick break here as we prep up here for game 2. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Titan Esports action right after this. After what looked like a mountain that Dorado would have to climb to get over, this fed Vladimir. It was not enough, and Dorado takes game 1 in very impressive fashion. We are going to be heading into game 2 here very, very soon. Quacks, what needs to come out from LA in order to make sure that they can even up this series and not put themselves down 2-0?
Don't put your eggs in one basket. I swear to God, Zaz, every time we see this, even at the competitive level, when you're looking at like tier 1 teams, whether you're an LTA fan, LPL fan, LCK fan, the moment somebody on one team has all the cards, all the gold, all the experience, and is the lone carry, all it takes is one mistake, one mess up, and the game just falls apart. And we saw that in shades by Legacy Amber in game number 1. They give so much onus onto Bok Choy to be the carry. And the moment he gets found after that dragon fight, when they get soul point as Dorado Gaming Alpha, it just falls apart from there. They get the ace, they get the dragon soul, soul point, I should say. And then to make matters worse, they get the Otacon. It is just a snap your fingers and immediately the game flips on its head. So Legacy Amber, they need to be putting more gold, more onus on the rest of their players. It felt like Places Talbot was not relevant whatsoever. It felt like Bai only got relevant toward the latter half of the game. And at that point, Apex was so fed that the Yone could do nothing about it. You need to be putting more emphasis on your other lanes and more pressure on the enemy team across the board if you want to actually be competitive in this series, because going up in this series almost to finals and hoping that one man can carry your whole roster, it's not going to work against the better teams. As
Absolutely. I'm like, it was said in the content that Nashti and Shiro are probably among the best bot laners in this league, and we could see that Place Talbot was struggling to make anything happen. You're absolutely right. Was run down, I think, 2 separate times by the Scion.
yeah,
Was just
Apex.
unable to really get anything going, and wasn't able to get that scaling that Senna needs in order to output that damage that needed to happen. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Bok Choy cannot be the hill that LA dies on. He had a fantastic game, picking up a quadra kill, absolutely, but still is not enough when you're going up. You're in the semifinals. You still need to rely on the rest of your roster. And absolutely, we have to acknowledge that, of course, the rest of the roster is very, very solid. They finished top of their group. But you also need to keep in mind that when it is this collected onto Bok Choy, again, in that fight that you mentioned, you saw how many resources were invested into making sure that Vladimir was dead, and then the rest of the fight was a cakewalk from there. So we are entering draft for game number 2. LA is still on blue side. They opted to stay on the same side. Hopefully they will adjust their draft as necessary to make sure that they can even up this series here. Bans are still relatively similar to what they were last time, as it is Gwen, Ziggs, Poppy taken up by LA, and on the other side so far, Pantheon and Syndra. So again, any early picks you're looking for here from LA to make sure that they can establish themselves early on here?
I really would like to see an Ambessa or a Corki here. I think these are still very potent B1s. I think another possibility for LA is maybe if they want to focus down a jungler, they could go like Jarvan or Vi here, but they're actually going to go for the Varus, another very potent B1 pickup here. And something that is pretty evergreen. I don't think Varus has a lot of outright counters that can really punish him, because he is good in early, good in mid, good in late, but I wouldn't necessarily say is overpowered in any 3 of those points at the game, as it looks like Dorado are going to be going for some late game insurance. They are going to slam Nashti onto the Ezreal. They're going to put Nissan. He's going to be driving around the Ahri. I feel like Legacy, probably the most likely thing we'll see is either a Talia or a Ryze, and they are going to go for the latter. I maybe thought Talia could be better simply because it is just a difficult matchup through and through for Ahri. Ryze maybe gets a little bit exploited range-wise, and the fact that he doesn't really have a mid-game to match Ahri once she gets that Malignance can really dominate the matchup. And so we are going to see that come through for both teams. Dorado, though, now I would expect probably going to throw down a jungler. Jarvan will be the answer. I'm a little bit sad that Jarvan was picked here because I really wish we could have seen more synergy with J4. Obviously, Ahri Jarvan is a good mid-jungle combo Zaz, but things like the Corki work really well with Jarvan because you can Valkyrie into the Cataclysm and roast the enemy team alive.
Absolutely. Again, if we're talking about safe picks here for Dorado, they picked up the Sivir Jetta last game, and now Ahri and Ezreal, two incredibly safe laners, incredibly tough to gank, especially post 6 for the Ahri, and just free flashes for the side of Ezreal as well. So definitely going to be very, very tough for LA to influence these lanes. Taking out the Karma, very good. That is, again, probably the second safest lane outside of Sivir Janna, but it is going to be Bard. Again, Ezreal is going to be completely fine on his own.
Yeah.
Going to get that roaming here for Shiro on the Bard. So far, a very, very interesting draft coming out from Dorado.
Yeah, you mentioned the roaming, and I think with a champion like Jarvan, who has to be very proactive in the early game, it'll be very, very good for Shiro to get onto the board early. So I want to see some teamwork between the jungle and support. I think it's going to be up to USA to alleviate a lot of pressure off of that bot lane to allow Shiro to roam. I feel like a lot of the bad bards that we see in any division roam while their AD carry doesn't have good conditions. You need to make sure those conditions are good before you take off and abandon your AD carry, as we are going to see the remaining picks come through here. Renekton and Vi going to round out Legacy, and the Dorado Gaming Alpha, their last pickup will be the Ornn as a counter to the Renekton. So probably not going to see a ton of action in the top lane. I think contrary to game 1, a lot of this focus will be in the mid lane, the Ahri versus the Ryze, making sure they can acquire those first items and get around the map with their junglers.
Ornn is one of my favorite top laners. Whenever I do play top lane, it is one of my go-to picks. I think Ornn has a lot of fighting potential. Also, fun interaction with the Jarvan is you do not destroy your own team's terrain. So if Jarvan launches up that Cataclysm, it just creates free terrain for the Ornn to E on, and it will not destroy it. So that is very, very good synergy for these two. As if they are able to get the jump onto Varus or onto a Ryze, they can. If they don't have flash, they cannot escape that Jarvan ultimate. But once again, very, very straightforward comp here from the side of Dorado. You know, they have tons of engage this time around. They have, they have incredibly safe lanes. Bard is going to be able to influence every corner of the map, not just bot lane. I really like what Dorado have cooked up here as they lead the series 1-0. Do you think that they set themselves up for an easy 2-0 here, or do you think LA, with the draft that they have here, have a chance to fight back and even up this series?
I think Legacy's draft is more indicative on how well Full Clear and by Loves You are actually going to be able to follow up with Valdano. Sorry for my mispronunciation at the start, because like we talked about in game number 1, the engages from both of those comps in that first match were not there, and I think they certainly are. I think they've been shored up here for game number 2, so I think whichever team is able to, get that timing right should be able to take it. I will say, though, Dorado Gaming have a little bit of an edge when it comes to late game. Renekton is eventually going to fall off. I think that Vi loses a lot of pressure around that 25-minute mark. After 2 items, I think, is not nearly as strong as before. And this is going to be a prime moment for Dorado Gaming Alpha with those ornaments, with the Ezreal at 3 items, with the Ahri as well, to really kick it into high gear and start taking over the game. So again, I think it's going to be Legacy Amber on a bit of a timer to make things happen. Those level 6s are what I'm looking at for them to be super proactive. And then around level 13, I think they might lose a little bit of control. So there's that small little window where they can really start dominating the game. It's just a matter of if they recognize it and if they are able to forward punch over to the side of Dorado Gaming Alpha before they eventually get their claws, bare their teeth, and scale up.
My one concern here for the side of Dorado is their AoE is very, very low. Like, yes, Ornn is a very, very... Oh, a nice little poke there from the Varus to get... I think if he has Mana Flow with that Comet, that might be just a little bit of an advantage. But what I was saying is there is a very lack of AoE damage. Ari can hit multiple, but her charm only lands on one. Jarvan can CC multiple people, but his main damage comes from his auto attacks, which of course can only land onto one person. Ezreal is physically incapable of hitting more than one person at a time. All of his skill shots are single targets. So
his ult's AoE.
Fair enough. Yes, my fault. But for the most part of his damage will be single target. So like there is still potential for AOE from this team, but I just feel like they have a lot of single target damage, and as long if they could look for these picks, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But especially in like larger scale team fights, which we saw a lot of in game one, might look to struggle here a little bit. There are no level 1 shenanigans, but both the junglers starting on the top side this time around, like you said, might be a little bit slower in the top lane as a result. So maybe a bit more fighting down here in this bot lane. We will have to see.
I think it's probably going to be the mid lane that we see. I would assume the most focus will be in the mid lane for the time being, Zaz. As we said, this is a very potent matchup that I think both of these teams want to play around. Dorado, a comp that really scales, I think, around that mid game, which is when Ari is at her best, and then LA probably better around that late game when Rise is really able to scale up. So I think similar to game number 1, we're probably going to be seeing the Dragons be a main focus. The bot lane pathing, down by both junglers also supports that. But I like that you pointed out the lack of AoE and the fact that this is more of a pick comp drafted here by Dorado Gaming Alpha. If they're not able to make use of that Jarvan flag and drag, then I think they're going to have a huge struggle as Apex.
There's a lot of fighting now going on. Apex flashing out. I thought he might have been able to turn it around. I don't know his cooldowns, obviously, so if he had nothing, would make sense why he did not feel like he could secure that kill onto the Renekton. But Baya loves you getting an early flash out here from the Ornn without using his own in return might get a little bit of advantage here in the top lane as a result.
Then you can see Apex at turret shot taken, brittle proc.
The flash coming through just dashes into that turret range. That is not what the Renekton needed to do to win that lane. And Apex now with, I believe, his 3rd solo kill of the series. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, we already have the Jarvan down here. Vi is looking more towards this mid lane as the Scuttle Crab has spawned. Doesn't look like Jarvan is looking for it. Instead, he's looking for a play on this bot side. But here we go. Is behind. USAJJ is headbutted away by the Alistar. But the flash forward, and Varus actually will be able to trade at least one back. And now here comes Full Clear to try and back up his team. It is a 1-for-1 so far as Shiro. No mana. Doesn't have flash either. So will he be able to create a portal? No, he will not. Full Clear will just take it and say thank you for the way out. And it is going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of LA down here in this bot lane.
Yeah, really over-aggressive play, in my opinion, there from USAJJ. He burns his flash, burns his support flash. Sure, you get the summoners off of Places Talbow, but you make so many, I would say, aggressive plays that while you do trade, 1-for-1, it is going to be a 1-for-2 at the end of the day as Full Clear, I thought originally got that kill, but it was actually Valdanio that picked that one up. So not the end of the world for Dorado Gaming. It's just a matter of if they can capitalize off of the flashless Varus and continue making plays in his face. As we
could see Ornn again, just like game 1, is getting the better of these trades into his opponent here. And I've said it before to several, and I'm going to say it again. Ornn is one of the most fun tanks, in my opinion, and the most broken. The ability to build your own items in lane is way crazier than I ever would have anticipated. He is so fun, does a crap ton of damage. I think, again, this Ornn now, with a solo kill to boot, is going to be a very, very dangerous...
Going in.
Here we go. Full Clear does manage to smite away the big wolf, but the flag from Jarvan will secure the other 2. So again, a bit of a fun invade here from USAJJ. Did have the Bard to back him up, but won't be able to take away that main camp there from Full Clear. So not the most successful, but definitely has put himself a little bit ahead.
Yep. Also will be able to, at the very least, keep track of where Full Clear is actually going. I think tracking that Vi going to be instrumental, especially once it gets that cease and desist. As Shiro
but now
actually used his portal.
Yeah, now the flash forward coming from Feldanio, and now, oh, and there it is. The feats now claimed for the side of LA as the arrow through the heart of Shiro will secure that third kill here for the side of LA.
Yeah, Shiro, I think, having a little too fun with the Bard movement speed, uses that portal unwisely and gets punished for it. So now Places Talbo will have the chance to get back into this game. And curiously enough, Nashty actually, despite that bot lane trade, despite that bot lane skirmish from a few minutes ago, has yet to reset. So he is only sitting on a D-Blade. Meanwhile, Places Talbo has gotten 2 resets off, obviously dying once, but being able to get that Dirk and then subsequently buying that tier as USAJJ actually gets the kill.
And Renekton once again dashes into the turret. That is another mistake. A fourth solo kill from Apex, who is just dominating this top lane.
It has been a rough series so far for Bai. He has gotten solo killed. I think that's actually the 3rd time that he got solo kills, once in that first game before Full Clear was able to back him up and get that return kill on the Xin Zhao. But it is 2 kills for the Ornn. Not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, look at what this Varus is building. Like we just said, he's going lethality. He's not going on hit. Your best bet to killing the front line of Dorado Gaming is going to be this Vi, and that is a very compromising position for Legacy Amber to be in. You have to get up in his face in order to deal damage to him. You can't rely on lethality to do the job for you. It just doesn't work against tanks, Zaz.
Absolutely, and like you're talking about how it's not the worst thing in the world that Ornn has these kills. I actually disagree. Ornn with items, with experience, because again, experience is the most important resource to collect for Ornn. The sooner he can get to those ornaments, the more his team will benefit. Has one of the longest engages in the game. That is AoE. I think Ornn with kills can be a very, very dangerous prospect here, and he's already picked up 2. Meanwhile, the first of the grubs have been taken here by Full Clear, but his dash is interrupted.
Good CC charm.
Will use the ultimate to try and navigate that. Does flash the Jarvan wall, but that's not going to be enough as Nissan picks up that first kill. The Bard portal will get USAJJ away, but is it going to be enough as now Bai, I Love You, is going to make his escape, but he leaves his support out to dry and might not even be enough as Nissan has another charge, does pop the W as well, doesn't have charm yet, and the final strike from USAJJ will take out the Renekton, and now it is another huge advantage going over to Dorado.
Yeah, Dorado just went out in that fight, and it was a beautiful latch-on by the mid-jungle duo. They immediately find Full Clear. And this is what we were talking about, Zaz, that pick tool potential. And they lay it down perfectly to take out the jungler of Legacy Amber, and they use it to get those resets onto Nissan. Now, they'll have the grubs. This Ornn, his solo kills will be a lot more intimidating because they'll be able to take a plate or 2 along with them. This will generate so much more gold into the carries and allow them to scale faster.
The ultimate coming through from Apex, but Bai Loves You is pops his own ultimate in return, and even now behind he is, Renekton is still a very tough crocodile to kill when he has that ultimate popped, has a lot of fury that he is able to now chew through. And dodges the knockup, but is that going to be enough? Does pop the E to make sure he can get his escape, and that brittle proc does not come through. But Apex is still a very, very dangerous Ornn here.
It absolutely is. But you can see Varus is equally as dangerous on the other side. And Legacy Amber trying to play around him. Full Clear is just going to take this crab. They're trying to set up a little bit early around this dragon. We've got around 90 seconds until that spawns. And this is the difficulty, honestly, of having something like a Bard pick where you're not really allowed to roam. Now you're just sort of forced to stay inbounds on this lane, and you're not necessarily able to spread those wings, meet up with those meeps and actually get the job done. You have got to play defense, but it's so hard to play defense at a time when an objective is so close to spawning. How realistically, I feel, are Dorado going to be able to walk into this choke point against Legacy, who have such a chokehold on that point?
Yeah, we do have to keep in mind that the gold advantage still is in favor of Dorado as well, so they could just, kind of smack them with their wallets, see if that'll be enough for this upcoming objective. But you're right, the choke points are going to be a very, very difficult element to navigate. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, it looks like there was a turret dive as the TPs are coming in, but
Wait, hang
Ezreal
on.
has already been defeated. But there's a trade back as Valdano is going to go down, and now they are trying to make their escape. The Rise ultimate. Oh, it's by the Bard! Shiro with the flash! The massive play coming out from Shiro, and the escape is denied. The dragon will be claimed from Dorado as they are now in full control of this game.
They absolutely are. Beautiful hero play there from the support of Dorado Gaming Alpha. Cancels the escape realm warp. Doesn't let Bok Choy and places Talbo leave. And secures 2 more for his squad. And another dragon will get under their belt. And now look at Apex though in a 1v2 situation.
All right, but Apex is looking now to try and trade back. Ball, I loves you.
What?
It's gonna go down, and Apex might even make his escape. He still has flash in the 1v2. Ord stands strong. The assassin, mage, fighter, tank, bruiser, DPS is going to be enough to fight almost the entirety of this top side here. As Valdano is up here as well to try and maybe get a dive onto Apex, but he still has flash. Is he going to be able to outplay this? Here he comes. Does manage to negate the first part of the CC. Knocks him up as well. Valdano is going to
What are they doing?
Kidding me? Apex is just dominating the map, and the desperation from LA is so obvious here. And oh my goodness, this is just a disaster here for Legacy.
It's a disaster class here, Ezekiel. What is the point of that dive? Even if you go for it, even if it is successful, you don't have the grubs. You're not going to be able to take many of the plates. There's no point to going for that dive. They do it anyway, and it ends up costing them not 1, but 2 kills. And now Apex is unstoppable in this game. This front line is invincible to Legacy Amber at this point.
He didn't even use flash. Not at either one of those. And that is just so insane that Apex is just able to navigate both of those ganks of both of those 1v2s and come up with a kill on both of them. That is just insane. I keep telling people Ord is broken, and that is a very, very good example of how he can just be a massive influence in this game.
He is going to be a massive influence in this game indeed, but I think the struggle now for Dorado is getting him out of the top lane and into the world. No turret has been taken so far in this game. Plates are going to drop in just under 10 seconds, so that will make them significantly squishier, much easier to claim for either one of these teams. But realistically, I'm looking at Dorado to claim them first. You can see they're swapping Apex up toward the bot side. They're probably going to try and utilize that teleport around this Herald spawning in less than a minute, as Bai is just going in, but you do no damage, my friend.
Has purchased the Black Cleaver, so maybe he'll do damage eventually, but you're right. Just at this point, it's not going to be enough. And Varus using the ult as well to just miss. Again, you can feel the desperation coming from LA. If they drop to 0-2 in this series, it is going to be such an uphill battle for them to try and make any sort of a comeback in this series. But right now, I do not see a way back into this game here for them. Meanwhile, top lane, ooh, Bok Choy does manage to dodge the flag and drag and get that ultimate off. So a good escape there from him.
Wait, he's staying. They're going again.
They are the flash forward from Nissan, and the charm will miss, but the knockup will not. USA JJ picks up that kill, but again, oh my goodness, I'm trying to find a way for LA to come up with any sort of answer, and I just don't have one.
It's gonna have to come, I think, from Dorado making a mistake, as they're just, you know, perfectly okay with taking their sweet time. The Herald is up, but they feel no rush to go for it. They're saying, we are in control of this game. Instead, we're gonna take the turret. We're gonna move on to the Herald when it is convenient for us. And honestly, I feel like that convenience is on the vicinity, because there is a dragon coming up in a little over, you know, a minute. If they can use this Herald to draw attention from Legacy, claim control of that bot side river, they should be able to get the second one no sweat. It looks like that's the plan for what they are going to be doing. So a Herald, likely going to be a Drake right after this. Legacy Amber have to come up with something and fast because this game is slowly slipping, or quickly, I should say,
I was
slipping out
gonna
of their
say
control.
not slowly at all.
This is
No,
not a
this
slow
is
death. This is a stab to the heart.
this is the opposite of slowly spiraling out of control. It spiraled faster than I think anyone would have expected. But absolutely, got to keep in mind that both of these squads are top of the league for a reason. LA is still 6-1. They were top of the league. If there is a team that can mount a comeback in this scenario, it is a team like LA. So cannot count your chickens before they hatch. They still have a possibility, but they have to come up with some sort of answer, and they have to come up with it quick if they have any chance of salvaging this game as well as this series.
They absolutely do. Dragon going to come up. You can see the rest of Legacy have no intention of attempting to contest it. They are all on the top side. They don't even have to use the Herald as a distraction. They can just save that one for a different time. And I would imagine they're probably saving it for mid lane. That turret is still plenty healthy. Nissan wasn't really able to deal a ton of damage to it before we started, mix and matching the lane assignments. Apex, though, maybe in a bit of danger.
They're trying
1v4.
to gank
Surely
the
it works
again.
this time, right? Surely it
There's
works.
4 this time. We will see if they are able to do something. The Ornhorn is popped, but here comes a teleport as well. The Ornhorn is not used. Apex is dropping low, but is it going to be enough? The TP has finished, and here comes Nissan to try and back up his top laner, but that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade. It looks like his full clear is left to the Wolves, and meanwhile, it's Bok Choy left all by his lonesome, and that is going to be a 2-for-1 across the map in favor of Dorado.
I really have no idea what Legacy are doing. They are compromising so much of their base just to get one kill on to Apex. I don't even think the Ornn had a shutdown, if I'm not mistaken. It is just so devastating for Dorado as bye. All right, saving Private bye, but bye.
Yeah, it is not going to work no matter what. That is USA JJ picking up that kill. So overall, a 3-for-1 for Dorado. They commit Legacy. They commit 4 to the top lane. Yes, they pick up the kill onto the Ornn, but they lose so much off that play.
Yeah, 2 towers in mid lane. The thing that we were saying, Dorado Gaming Alpha would struggle to get. Well, there's 4 in top lane. There's a lone mid laner. The game just writes itself at this point, Zaz, and I feel like LA. Did Apex say something in chat? Because that is the only feasible explanation to why they did what they did, because the game just feels insurmountable at this point. 8K gold difference between the teams. 6-1-5 and 6-0-5 are the score lines that, populate the jungle and mid of Dorado Gaming Alpha respectively. And now in about a minute, there is going to be an Otacon, so just another objective likely to be claimed by Dorado unless Legacy can do something about it. You can already see Bai pushing in that top lane to try and get some priority, but he's all alone. Dorado maybe could look for a pick if they're able to sneak in these bushes.
One of Ornn's passives, he has about 3 of them, I believe, and one of them is that he gains an additional 10% of any tank stats. So the more items he builds, the more items he gets, the tankier he becomes, and just committing so many resources to try and take him out have cost LA so much in this game. And they keep doing it. I don't know why. You might be right. Maybe, I don't know, Apex said something about their mothers or something like that, because the only explanation I could come up with is just they think that Ornn is an easy target, and time and time again he is proving that Apex is indeed him, and like he cannot be defeated here in this game. And yes, with 4 they finally took him out, but that may have just cost them the entire game, that play. So like I'm very, very confused as to why that was the game plan, but
did. And now I think the difficulty is going to be Legacy handling this 4-1. You can see Bok Choy is there to try and, keep Apex at bay on that bot side of the map, but there's a teleport advantage for Dorado as the CC lands.
The CC lands, but Shiro does manage to pop the ultimate onto himself to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but just a little bit as he does indeed go down. The full clear will take the portal and does hop the wall, but double flash here as now it is going to be the Jarvid picking up that kill. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Apex is actually dropped all the way to half already, but is that going to be enough? Is now Renekton is going to be the next one to fall, and that is a 2-for-1 so far for Dorado, as now USAJJ, the flag, the drag, and the ultimate will spell doom here for the side of Legacy, as finally USAJJ is actually legendary, and the ace comes through. Dorado crushes LA into the dirt, and that is going to be an Otacon perhaps, or they might even just look to take out this mid lane turret.
There's a mid lane turret, there's an Otacon, there's a dragon coming up in 45 seconds. Dorado Gaming Alpha are entitled to all of it. And frankly, Zaz, I don't even think they played that fight well. They split themselves up to overchase onto full clear, and Apex is so tanky that he was able to handle a 2v4 situation. I feel like at that point, when Dorado Gaming makes such egregious positioning mistakes and manage to dominate the fight anyway, what more can you say at that point?
You're absolutely right. There just comes a point in any league game where you can just take out your wallet and just smack them across the face with it, and that'll just be enough. You can face roll your keyboard. It don't matter the mechanics. You just have so much more gold than the enemy team that it doesn't matter how you play these fights as long as you win them. So, Dragon up. It is not Soul quite yet, so it doesn't look like LA is even going to try. They're just going to try and pick up, some of these objective bounties. Will they even get this top lane one, as the wave is already dead, taken over here by Nissan? But here comes full clear to try and back up his top laner. But again,
space.
another 1v2.
Holy moly.
Another 1v2 kill, as now it's full clear, trying to come up with some sort of answer, but it don't matter. A double kill.
What
and
is Soldario doing?
The Alistar going what I feel like is the wrong way, and now is likely going to fall as well. The charm comes through. It's going to be a triple kill for Nissan, and now Bokjoy flashing. Oh, but he's flashed out of his own ultimate. That is such a disaster here for LA. The Dragon is picked up. One member remaining. The Varus stands alone against the might that is Dorado, and I do not think he has the stones to stop this onslaught.
Just put them out of their misery, Dorado. They seem done. You guys seem done. Let's just wrap it up. They're pushing in the top lane. They're pushing in the mid lane. It's a 4-1 split. And honestly, they just need to look for a pick. The base is being broken in the mid lane, but they're not going to continue their pursuit here. They are instead just going to break the base in top, in mid, but they won't go for the inhibitors. That Baron going to be up in a little over a minute. Honestly, Dorado, at this point, they could just take it on spawn. Those ornaments are starting to come through. And frankly, Legacy Amber, like, I cannot picture a worse played team fight, if I'm being honest. I don't like flaming teams, but that was just not it.
That was not it. I will give you that. How many times in this game has just Dorado's turned around the 1v2? They have been playing so strongly in this series so far. I am trying to come up with a way that LA could find a way back into this game, and I am trying to blank. Like,
there's no way, Zaz. Some games are just like that. There's no way.
Yeah, it is now a 14k gold lead at 24 minutes against two of the top teams in this league. Dorado is just on a whole other level coming into this series here.
They absolutely are. They're just waiting down the timer of that Baron. You can see they've got 4 members hovering around that part of the map, making sure that Legacy Amber don't even get a peep of vision on them doing that objective. They do have 2 blue wards, though, so the chances of them actually spotting them are high, but the chances of them actually being able to do anything about it, nigh 0, I would say.
Yeah, it'll be dang close, I agree, but dang close to 0. But again, they're looking for something. This, again, might not be it.
Good cancel.
Okjoy already taken out of the fight. USA JJ picks up that kill. Full clear is just in full retreat, and it don't matter. The mobility is insane. The damage is there. And now there's 2 members remaining. Let's see how long they can last against the might of Dorado. Down they go. A full 5-0 ace. Not only that, every member is still full health. That is just, again, the wallet smacking going to be the end here for the side of LA. As oh, that's not cool. But having a bit of fun here. I mean, why wouldn't you? Up now 2-0 in this series. You just have to find some way to win one of the next 3 games to lock yourself into the finals. Dorado coming in confidently here in this game 2, looking to perhaps even 3-0 what was the top team in their group. Man, Dorado has to be feeling good about this series right now.
Absolute disaster class as well from the side of Legacy Amber. Those late game fights, obviously they were behind in gold, they were behind in resources. It was just a Dorado gaming victory all the way, but frankly, the way Legacy Amber tried to come back, I just... Like, we're 1v2 diving the Ornn with Flash. We're 1v4 diving the Ornn and sacrificing not 1 but 2 turrets. Like, what are we doing, Zaz? It, like, was just... It felt like it was a good game from Dorado Gaming Alpha, but it was an equally bad game from Legacy Amber. There's just not much else to say. They need to not only come back physically, they need to come back mentally. Because I feel like their minds are in a completely different place.
That is going to be the biggest hurdle, I think, for LA as we move through the rest of this series. Is just, are you able to recover? Because obviously being down 2-0 in and of itself
Never feels good.
Never feels good, absolutely. But you have to put that aside right now. The series is not over. You didn't hear no bell. I still have confidence in LA. They are one of the best teams in Immortal. If anyone can come back, I still believe it can be them. Dorado, though, looking so dominant here, is going to, be flying high coming into game 3 here. We will see what they're able to do, but something has to turn around for LA. We are just going to be going to a quick break here before we get prepped here for game 3, but do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with more semifinals action as soon as we come back.
like like crazy, oh crazy, oh crazy, crazy, oh crazy, oh crazy, 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 crazy,
Welcome back, everybody. We have Game 3 action coming up between these two Titans as we are looking at potentially a sweep for Dorado as they try to lock their place in the finals of Immortal League. So there comes a time in every, team's journey where they have to face some sort of adversity if they are going to be the champions. LA decided to speed run their adversity as now they are down 2-0 going into this and have to come up with a reverse sweep if they want to lock their spot in finals. But the last two games were not even relatively close. So how does LA, bounce back and prove why they were the top team in the their group and turn the series around? What needs to happen here, Quacks? Because again, I have no answers for what LA can do because they are just getting dominated at every end of the map here.
I'm going to be honest with you, Zaz. I don't really feel like your statement about two Titans is accurate anymore. I feel like we have one Titan and one person or thing or creature that is looking up at it. It's almost like that David versus Goliath, like sort of Elden Ring meme template that you see a lot of people use. At that point, you got to climb that if you're the side of Legacy Amber. They looked just mentally done at the end of game number 2. That 1v2 dive, I think, sung home basically that was basically the entire game in a nutshell. We killed Apex. We lost everything for it. Oh, now we lost the game. Basically, you could have just shown them someone that clip and been like, all right, that was basically the game in a 2-second, sort of highlight. Anyway, on to game number 3. And speaking of game number 3, Zaz, yeah, I also don't have any answers, to be completely honest with you. The one big, win condition that we saw Legacy Amber use in game number 1 was Bok Choi's Vladimir. And in game number 2, Bok Choi felt as basically irrelevant as everybody else, one of his teammates. So it's tough to see where they're going to go from here gameplay-wise, but I feel like, before we went to that break, we said it's not about the gameplay necessarily, or not just about the gameplay. It's also about mentally coming back, because like you mentioned, Zaz, going down 0-2 in a series where you're so close to finals, but now so close to elimination after such a dominant season, it weighs on you, absolutely.
And it's going to be an uphill battle for LA no matter how you look at it. If they make any sort of mistake in the next 3 games, their season is done, and that has got to be weighing on them. Definitely, they have to push that out of their mind and bounce back here in this series if they want a shot at finals. But Dorado on the other side, feeling confident, but you have to also be sure that you don't get too cocky. You don't want to let your guard down. You're still up against, I know they've been struggling this series, but they are still one of the top teams in this league. You cannot take your foot off the gas for any reason whatsoever. We have Syndra, Jace, Poppy Band for the side of Dorado. Pantheon, Ziggs, and Gwen on the other side for LA, who finally have opted to red side after 2 games on blue. And then finally, as you've been trying to predict, all 3 games. Oh, I smacked my microphone. All 3 games. The first picks for both of these squads are the Ambessa and the Corki, finally picked up here.
Yep, Ambessa, I like this a lot. I think it gives, Bai a lot of dueling potential, and this is something that he needs to do well on. Apex has routinely in this series, I think, been the big difference maker in a lot of these games. He has been gapping Bai in both games 1 and 2 significantly. So we have to see a change. We have to see some kind of a switch up by not just Bai, but the entirety of Legacy Amber in this laning phase. Dorado, though, going to counter with a Cassante and a Wukong. So getting a lot of armor in the face of these damage dealers that Legacy are drafting. I am curious about this Maokai. I feel like it has lost a lot of steam in the jungle, so I'm wondering if maybe this is a support response here for Legacy, and they're going to pair it up with the Xayah. Would make sense because Maokai has a lot of CC to be able to get that Blade Caller down and make sure that damage is guaranteed. But at the same time, I do think the, I want to say vision and sort of protection around a lot of those confined spaces is good for Maokai in the jungle because he's able to place down those saplings. So there's pros and cons to both, but I do think that Dorado so far in this draft are aptly responding with their own counters.
Absolutely. Again, we've seen Apex now on tanks for all 3 of these games, but yet somehow he still manages to be like one of the main carries on the Sion, on the Ornn. He has been outstanding in that top lane. We will see what he is able to accomplish on the Cassante, which is probably the most carry-oriented tank in the game. He is someone who can one-shot anyone across the enemy team, and it looks like with that Melio pick for the side of LA, it is indeed Maokai going into the jungle as they save their counter pick for Bok Choy, who has once again been one of their most dominant members.
That's a really interesting counter here for Dorado Gaming. It almost feels like a self-counter against the Melio. I was about to say, Melio doesn't really have anything that he can use that is super effective with the Breath of Life because there's a lot of knockups from the Cassante and a lot of CC that's just not cleansable. Nico gets locked in and suddenly you're able to cleanse that ultimate as well as the Orianna. So a lot of AoE damage coming out from 4 and 5 pick here of Dorado Gaming Alpha. Ooh. And it does give Melio a little bit more agency, but I do think, the large herring here for Dorado Gaming's comp Zaz is certainly going to be team fighting. You were talking about how little AoE they had in game number 2. Well, now they got boatloads of it. The team fighting,
I think they took that
really
personally.
Is insane. They definitely did. They might.
But with that Gnar locked in, that likely means that Ambessa is not going into the top lane. It will be for mid. So Bok Choy throwing down the gauntlet here a little bit as what I am a little concerned about is Maokai solo AP is not great.
Against Cassante, it's a bit of a daunting task for sure. And I also think...
And the Wukong as well. Wukong's passive, he gains about 50 free armor at some... just
and his Q is armor shred. His Q is armor shred as well, so it's really good against this front line. There's actually a lot of hidden true damage on the side of Dorado Gaming. Obviously, you've got the Cassante all out that's able to just rip through health bars, but you've also got, Corki true damage passive with his autos. You've got the Wukong Q. Wukong will also probably be building Black Cleaver in this game, I would imagine. So the later this game goes on, the more irrelevant I think the LA tanks are going to be, and that is not something you want to be said about your comp when you're looking at 5v5s for both of these teams.
Absolutely. And there's several ball delivery systems too for the Orianna. Obviously Corki doesn't have the package anymore, but still has a dash. Probably not the best one, but Cassante has a great way in. Wukong is the easiest one for sure. Nico can be a very, very good delivery as well. So I really like this combo that they have created with Nissan, who will likely be able to have a bit of a field day with his own engages. And on the other side, I mean, me personally, I hate going against Maokai. He is one of, I like to play a lot of, go in, gung-ho champions, and he is very much, nope, you stay right there, you do not move. You are not allowed to pass this line. And so me personally, I do not like going against a Maokai. So I always see him as a strong pick. But in this comp, again, just being the only source of magic damage just means that I feel like the Cassante and the Wukong will just be able to stack, tons of armor and just never die. So I'm a little concerned about that, but we will have to see what LA is able to accomplish. This is what the draft that they believe in, with their backs against the wall. I think, again, when they're down 2-0, they have to put their best foot forward. And I think if this is the draft that they will die on, I'm very confident in them.
I'm not super confident. I think, honestly, I feel like Dorado Gaming Alpha's comp is not necessarily as one-dimensional. Sure, they've got the engage, but they've also got the disengage, right? Maokai goes in, Gnar goes in, and Ambessa goes in. And then Dorado, they've got the Nico ultimate. They've got the Corki disengage. They've got the Cassante ult to, remove someone from the equation entirely. There's so many disengage tools on Dorado Gaming Alpha, but there's also so many opportunities for them to engage. They are very much so a more options comp, in my opinion, whereas I feel like Legacy Amber are extremely linear. They're extremely one-dimensional. They're going in. They don't have a lot of opportunities to actually disengage. They do obviously have that Xayah ult and have the Ambessa speed, but beyond that, it's just tough. Once they're in, they're in. They're not going out. They are committed to the fight, and Dorado Gaming, I feel like, just have more flexibility when it comes to those 5v5. So I honestly give the draft over to them. I like it a lot more, and I just think they've drafted stronger champions. I don't know what the sauce is around Ambessa mid, but I know it's probably not very tasty.
We will have to see for sure. Bok Choy, again, has been the best performing player for LA in this series so far. So we will have to see if, again, Ambessa is a champion that can make plays. 4 dashes for some godforsaken reason, and is able to make those sorts of plays on the map. So we will have to see what they're able to accomplish on this pick. Definitely a little spicy for sure. And I know you said they don't have a lot of disengage, like, as a team for sure, but they have tons of self-peel. Melio has great peel. Xayah is able to protect herself while her team goes in. So I think they still have opportunities, but meanwhile, we have a bit of an invade here. They get a ward down on red as full clear. Does just have to back off as the rest of his team is not here to help him out. Meanwhile, it looks like they weren't able to get a response ward down in the bot lane. They did manage to ward the Tri Brush, but that's about as far as they got.
So there will be a little bit of information gathered there by Dorado as to where full clear will be starting. Maokai, a champion that is notoriously slow in the clearing department, particularly that first clear. He really needs, I think, Faded Ashes before he's able to get anything done. But that is going to mean potentially a tempo advantage for USA JJ, and with both junglers pathing toward that bot side, I have to believe Wukong should look to make an aggressive play before his counterpart is able to get all of those camps done.
Yeah, so there we go. This is kind of how the lane I'm expecting, at least in mid, is going to look. Bok Choy, it goes in, gets a decent trade-off, but then, the lack of range will just result in Nissan being able to get some free poke on the way out. So evens up the trade there a little bit. We can see, again, there's so much fighting in this top lane as both these top laners are below half health already. Baya Loves You is looking for this Gnar bar here as it is almost full, and Apex might have to back off a little bit as this Gnar is about to get very, very angry.
Yep, so Bai has the opportunity to look for aggressive trades in Mega Form, but he's also less squishy.
Drops the flash.
There it is
already.
again. There it is again.
Apex showing off why he's among the best once again. Apex takes out yet another solo kill, going for some sort of record here in this series.
Insert Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with it. He keeps up the solo kill train onto Bai, and this time it's a Cassante that's getting the job done. And like we said, there is just not a lot of damage distribution on this LA comp. If they cannot get their magic damage dealer in a good position, that being full clear, then it is just going to be Cassante face tanking like he did on the Scion.
Absolutely. Does have a decent wave stacked up here, so I think Bai should actually win this trade. I say should, because maybe he won't, but does have the Rage Bar stacked up. Apex taking a lot of damage here and will be forced to back up. Meanwhile, the rest of the map looks like it is going relatively even for both of these teams. We can see that Pro Comp's draft score for both of these squads as we are going to go into a quick pause here, back. Hopefully. It is going to resume immediately, potentially. Oh, maybe not. But as we were talking about, that Pro Comp draft score, 50.7% in favor of LA, so slight advantage to them. Luckily, the pause didn't last for too long as we are already back in game.
You could see Full Clear was actually the one to get that crab on the Maokai, despite my earlier statement, so now I look stupid. He's actually going to go for a double crab. This will mean a good chunk of CS difference between the two junglers already up to camps, but it will also mean that he will have a slightly delayed back and will give some tempo over to USA JJ, who will be back on the map quicker with now his double longsword. I've seen a lot of people debate the first back on a lot of these bruiser champions because most of them are going for that Sundered Sky. I feel like it is just always better to go for the longsword Ruby Crystal instead of the double longsword. Makes you a little bit more tanky. So that might be something that USA JJ, finds difficult later or begins to regret later. But for now, he's just walking around looking for picks in the mid lane.
Won't really be able to accomplish much. Is now looking for that Raptor, so there might be a play up there. As we could see, Full Clear are relatively even in items, so might actually look for a fight here. Here we go. The smite is picked up. I think
Full Clear got it.
Full Clear, exactly. So a very, very unsuccessful invade there from USJJ, which puts himself even further behind as far as CS goes in this game.
Yeah, 3 camps already behind us. Shiro is taking a lot of punish. Does have that heal, so is maybe hoping to try and bait in the bot lane of Legacy Amber to over-aggress, and then Nashty can look for a counter punch to try and 1-for-1.
But I think maybe playing.
Yeah,
with
you're really pushing.
Fire,
You're really pushing it though.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see already, oh no, Nar is dragged all the way back. That might be another solo kill up in top lane, but does manage to get the hop away and will get himself to safety. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Bok Choy is looking for something here onto Nissan, but both of the mid laners chunk now to half health, means that they will just have to back off. Bok Choy just looking to get this wave in. Maybe not, might actually look for a little bit more here, as does get 6. But now here comes the Wukong, is looking for something, but Full Clear's here as well to back up their mid laner. And we can see this is just a bit of a funky.
Oh, Shiro!
They didn't count the minions, and neither did I, as now Full Clear is forced to flash away, and Shiro popping out as the Nico. What a play there, fooled even me, but luckily no one on LA dropping to that trap, but does get the summoner spell from Full Clear.
Yeah, that got me as well. I was not counting the minions. I would have followed for it as well. It's no kill added as Nissan.
Oh, but here we go. Nissan is chunked very dangerously low. Bok Choy is as well. Both of the supports are here. The jungler is here as well. So 3 in mid lane for the side of Dorado, as they are looking for perhaps a play onto this mid lane in Bok Choy, but doesn't look like anything will happen from it. Looks like it's just going to be a red invade here for the Wukong, as a lot of action, but unfortunately not much results coming from either for either of these teams.
And I feel like that is a bad thing for Legacy. Sure, you're able to put the pressure in mid lane. You're able to burn that flash from Nissan. So a regank is certainly possible from Full Clear in the future, especially because Bok Choy will get that ultimate back up before that flash comes online. So there is that pick potential. But again, this just feels like a comp that...
Good dodge there from Bye I Loves You, but now doesn't dodge that one, as is forced to flash away. Apex just again putting on the top lane kingdom here in this game, showing why he's among the best and getting just another summoner spell for free. Just used his own. So not for free anymore, but it might result in a solo reinforcement. Here, does lose the all out, and here comes Full Clear. Now with the Mega Gnar, is this the opportunity for Apex to go down? Here comes the damage. Not a lot of damage from either of these. Apex now will be able to get that kill onto the Cassante. So finally something going right here on the top side here for the side of LA, and that is a huge play from them. Evens up the kills.
Took them a little bit, but they finally get the kill. Apex, though, down for the count, has teleports, so should be able to, catch that wave. As USA is
from USJJ. Will he get the Q in time? Perhaps one last one, and he is out to safety. So we'll be able to respawn with a kill onto Bye I Loves You, and my goodness, that is just 0-2 again of a start here for Bye I Loves You. Not his night for sure. Again, still early in this game, still could turn it around. He is Gnar, can have some massive plays with that ultimate. We will have to see what he is able to accomplish. But here we go. That
Ooh.
is the public execution coming in, and that is going to be perhaps a solo kill. Bok Choy does have to
Ooh.
flash away in order to ensure that he is not taken out by the turret. But Bok Choy putting the team on his back yet again, pulling off the solo kill onto Nissan.
But now Bok Choy is going to have to try and help his mid laner. There's no priority in the top lane, and you could see there's fighting up there. I think those 2 grubs going to be taken by Legacy. Then they are going to dip on out, so they will acquire the credit for taking that objective. So it'll be a notch in those feats of dragon slaying for the time being. It's a good play coming out there from Full Clear, taking advantage of the fact that his mid laner died and giving them one step closer to being ahead in this game and potentially this series and beyond. Curious, though, what the grubs are actually going to net in terms of advantages here, though, for LA, as they haven't really been able to touch the plates of Dorado Gaming's turrets. And that is on a timer. There's only about 4 minutes left until those will be standing.
Man, these top laners have not stopped fighting in all 3 games of this series. As we can see, yet again, just trading of waves and trade of health here for both of these top laners. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, just again, I feel like this is just the normal trading pattern in this lane. You know, Bok Choy gets a decent electrocute proc, but then on the way out, Nissan is able to respond with his own damage. But we will see just, again, that was a great solo kill from Bok Choy. Again, we talked about what this Mbessa is able to accomplish, and we will see just how he is able to influence this game.
Yeah, for sure. Bok Choy, though, going to have a very arduous task of actually going into the comp that wants and likes to team fight. And I like the proactivity from Legacy this early on in the game. We're seeing Full Clear be present at a lot of objectives, making sure that those are denied from Dorado and they can't just free scale like they have in both, existing games of this series. So it'll be 2 objectives over to them, tied in kills, slightly ahead in gold. The big question is, will all of this be enough by the time the 5v5s come around? I feel like they need a real ace up their sleeve if they want to put Dorado Gaming in a precarious situation once they group up.
Yeah, Gnar just lost his rage bar, so is pretty vulnerable right now. But Apex is at about a quarter HP. But again, as Cassante, if he does manage to pop the all out, I don't think that will really matter, because he will just be able to one-shot anyone he chooses to on the enemy team. But meanwhile, we have the Wukong up in top lane already. Might be looking for these grubs, as Full Clear is going to be a little bit late to this party. But meanwhile, we have the ult pop from both of the supports here, as Shiro will not manage to get anything with the Pop Blossom. And Melio using... I forget
Breath
what
of
his
Life.
ultimate is. Breath of Life, thank you. I thought it was Warm Hugs, but I think that's his. I think that's one of his other abilities. But the Breath of Life, making sure that his ADC can get out alive.
Yep. So there will be no killing in the bot lane, as we can see by, like you said it best.
All right.
Here we go.
There's the Gnar attack. The Unstoppable comes through, so it does negate the roots, but it don't matter, as that is now the Feats of Warfare picked up here for the side of LA. But meanwhile, Bok Choy is trying to outplay this 1v2, as once again, Shiro has disguised himself as a minion, but Bok Choy, with the support of the Melio, will be able to get out of this one alive.
Yep, so it's a thwarted 2v1, and like you said, Valdano will be there to help out his mid laner. Nothing too consequential happening on this side of the map, though. Full Clear, crucially getting his second of the game and unlocking the Feats of Warfare for LA. Now all they're going to need is one more, I think, Dragon, and they should be able to get the Feats of Strength, get those fancy new shoes, those new souls. And that'll be really good, because I also think that, while we're talking about the inability, the imbalance of the LA...
Oh, the flash forward from Shiro! They are going to be looking onto the Melio, the flash from the USAJJ as well. Will it be enough? Melio is able to walk out.
He's alive!
And USAJJ is knocked into the turret! And this might be the best start we have seen coming out from LA, as they are finally making some plays all around the map.
They certainly are. They're winning out in the skirmishes. Dorado Gaming are overforcing and having a rude awakening all at the same time. And no objective going to be up just yet, so they're not really going to be able to get anything more for their efforts as a top lane fight is once again brewing.
Ooh, the Gnar actually pushes Apex into the turret. Couldn't get the second stun off, so unfortunately doesn't actually amount to too much, but that could have been a really good play coming out from the Gnar. So the all-out is still there, but so is the Mega Gnar for a little bit. Both of them lose their ultimate forms and will back off as a result.
But Bai is going to be the one that has to reset first. Just hold that thought.
Oh my goodness, yet again, Bok Choy might actually, no, pops the shield and will be able to get out alive. That's another solo kill in the mid lane as Bok Choy is saying, you know what, guys, just get on my back. I'm going to lead us to victory here.
He certainly is, but Full Clear as well is carrying the stroller for the rest of the teams. If we're using carry vibes and analogies here, it would be important to remember the jungler who's 3-0. You can see Legacy sort of setting up around this bot side. They're getting resets down for Places Talbro and Valdano. So those will come through. They should be all nice and healthy, able to get those item spikes. Like you can see the Xayah getting that Essence Reaver ahead of this dragon coming up in about a minute. Frankly, I don't think Dorado are in a place to contest this. The best they can do is look for a cross map with that Herald coming up and maybe trying to free Apex, because this Cassante, I feel, is the only one that has had success relative to his counterpart.
Yes, absolutely. But we have to say that as of right now, it looks like the Gnar is actually holding his own despite the disadvantage. I think
He's doing better.
Yes, absolutely. I think, again, confidence in your team is definitely a huge thing. And the fact that, you know, his team is doing so well around the map. Oh my goodness, I need to start counting these minions. Once again, Shiro has fooled me. But unfortunately, nothing really will come of that play, as well as this Rift Herald is up, but with 4 of the enemy team around the area, it looks like Dorado is just going to back off.
They have no choice. They don't have a lot of vision. They haven't really established a foothold in any or either one of these rivers. I think the idea is that they're basically just going to choose to go into the river that Legacy Amber are not in and hope to make a cross map, because realistically, Bok Choy, Full Clear are so unbelievably strong in this game. I really don't think looking for a fight at this point is a good idea. Apex as well also doesn't have teleport, so you don't have the assistance of your Cassante, of your all-star top laner. So you have to be really careful about your positioning.
All right, but it looks like they are disagreeing with you, and a fight is indeed imminent. But here we go. The public execution will tag Shiro, who is unable to get the ult off in time, and USAJJ is forced to use the ult as a bit of an escape. The flash coming from Baya Loves You to make sure that he stays alive after the all-out from the Apex, sorry. And it looks like overall it's just going to be 1 kill going over to LA, and a dragon, and feats.
Really good target selection coming out there from LA. They immediately set their sights onto the Nico before that Pot Blossom can end up completing its charge. They will get only a kill, but like you said, it's feats. It's another dragon acquired with it. So much of this gold is being just stuck onto the mid-jungle combo. A steal will be attempted, but it will not be landed.
And it will not work. And now USA finds himself in the entirety of the enemy team, and that is not where you want to be. Wukong goes down 7-2 for LA. They have finally shown up to play.
They absolutely have. Vancouver, or rather LA, I'm getting my cities confused here, Zaz.
Yeah, that's what we're not looking for Vancouver. So.
No, we're not looking for Vancouver. LA are running away with this game so far, but this is another one of those things that we kind of talked about, right? Where Dorado Gaming, their comp isn't the best in solos. It's not the best individually, but when they can come together, they are a formidable force. I think the big thing for Dorado, though, right now is they have to find some kind of way to pick off either Bok Choy or Full Clear. These guys, if you can knock them down for size, you will significantly reduce the amount of stress and the amount of pressure that they are putting on you. It seems like, though, they are perfectly content with just continuing their ways. Herald is up, and it should be immediately targeted by Legacy.
Absolutely. They have multiple members in the top side of the map here. We could see more fighting coming out in the top lane. The camera has been top lane so often just because these top laners do not care about waves as much as they care about beating each other up. So definitely going to be very, very chunked for both of these going into this Herald fight. But we could see the bot lane. Honestly, I don't think anything has happened in this bot lane so far, as both of these ADCs sitting at 0-0-0, but high CS, hopefully going to be able to influence the game at some point. But here he comes yet again. Bok Choy is once again proving why he is in the semifinals. But Nissan will be able to escape this time. And it's Valdania who will actually be the first one to fall. USA JJ is trying to find a pick onto full clear as well. Doesn't have the second Wukong ultimate and will not be able to grab anything more. But that is a huge kill coming through here for the side of Dorado, as Bok Choy's engage finally is thwarted.
And it might not have been the kill that they wanted, Zaz, but it's a kill nonetheless. They will find, although a granular win, it is a win nonetheless. And now...
But again, what I'm worried about, look at how much armor is being stacked on the enemy team. 4 of them have ninja tabbies, and it's just going to be, you know, Iceborne is already completed here for the side, for Apex. But just look at those boots. They're all going to be able to stack armor, and I just feel like so much damage is going to be negated as a result.
It absolutely is. Shiro is looking to do, I don't know what, against Places Talbo, but he's doing it anyway, as Apex went into a bit of a sticky situation. There are 4 in the top lane.
That is not what you want to see. Does get the unstoppable, but does he have the all out? Yes, he does. And will be able to get him to safety as full clear is now dueling 1v1. Will it be enough? Because Cassante moment, the public execution is there, and down he goes. I thought he might have had an opportunity to take out the enemy jungler, but it's not going to be enough. And now Apex is down yet again. Looks like Otacon's on the menu for the side of LA.
Certainly is. You can see it's a 3v4 situation. They don't have their Corki. It's at about half HP. USA JJ, he'll have to go for a steal. Can he do it, Zaz?
He will be invisible for a brief moment. Bok Choy is looking onto Nissan. Does still have the ultimate, but the Maokai ultimate will be enough. And here goes JJ. Is looking for the steal. Potentially is not going to get it. And that is a huge disaster here for Dorado. Again, may have just gotten lost in the sauce after the first 2 games, but it is all LA in game 3.
It absolutely is. They are running over this game, Zaz, as the Otacon will be claimed. The Herald will follow. At the Dragon, up in a minute. That'll be soul point if Legacy can acquire it. And all of these fights, it's just been 3v4, 4v5. They have never had their Corki present in these exchanges. We talk about the effectiveness of this team when they're able to 5v5, but they haven't been 5 at any point, Zaz.
This is one of those weird games where I have not seen either ADC in any fight. Both of them still, at this point of the game, are sitting at 0-0-0. Have not really had an opportunity to impact the game in any way, and we can see that is a huge benefit here for the side of LA, as Bok Choy, probably one of the best players in this lobby, is just running the map at this point on this Ambessa, and this is exactly what they needed. This confidence now is exactly what LA needed in order to turn perhaps the series around.
It absolutely is. You can see they're not even going to try and contest for this one. Bai is actually landing the boomerangs, and is he just going to kill him?
And he is! Bai is finally able to pick up a kill, and it's going to be onto Shiro. But meanwhile, the rest of Dorado are in full retreat. The Krugs will be taken by, I think, it was kind of shared between both of the teams, but that's Dragon picked up. They did leave top lane all alone, so it looks like Apex was able to grab that tier 1, is working on the tier 2 right now. Bai might be able to get there to stop it, but the Herald will take out that mid turret, also important mid turret, and will get a second charge off as well. Oh, no, it will not. Good smite there from USA.
Oh, but he might be using his life for it as, oh, surprise.
That is the flank coming from the Ambessa. Meanwhile, we also have a fight in top lane, shockingly. I have not seen this all game, but now here we go. The ultimate forward. Oh, the ultimate's missed from Bai, as that might be not enough. Oh, that is a game of inches for sure, but Apex once again shows that he is still among the best and gets another solo kill up there in top lane.
But he's not going to be able to live to tell the tale. He'll get the turret, he'll get the gold, but he's got nowhere to go as Legacy, their AD carry, their jungler are just going to surround him.
Don't run in! Yeah, look at how he actually came relatively close to killing the Xayah. Don't run into the Cassante, please. Just poke from a distance, but still managing to get the kill. Playstyle Bow finally, showing up in this game, as now has 2 kills on the Xayah, 2 items, will be a huge threat for sure. I am very excited to see what LA is going to be able to accomplish with this gold lead.
I absolutely am, as well as, you talked about it, sort of that looming threat, the fact that all of this armor is compounding for the side of Dorado Gaming Alpha. But we're kind of getting to a point where, especially with the soul point being claimed here by Legacy, it might not matter, frankly. The Infernal Soul should be enough to, I think, circumvent that difficulty that Legacy would otherwise have in this game. It's just a matter of if they can acquire and claim that one for themselves. But with that top lane turret taken, it means that Apex is more or less able to roam around the map. This Cassante will be more active in fights, more capable of joining with this team. And now the 5v5s are very much a possibility. We're going to have to see, though, if that'll make a difference. Because if it can't, Zaz, then Legacy may just take us to a game 4.
It is a 5k gold lead. Yes, the 5v5s are possible, but now at this point, we talked about this in game 2 as well. There comes a point in any game where just the wallet diff is too big, and it's only 5k, so it's not a disastrous situation here for Dorado. But seeing how far they are behind, would a 5v5 still, go their favor if they are able to get the proper engage off? It'll be tough to see, and we have to see how both of these teams navigate the team fights as we are circling around a potential soul here in the next minute and a half.
Yeah, for sure. Soul is going to be the big test here for Dorado. Baron is up as well, so it feels like this could create a bit of a domino effect for, honestly, either one of these teams, depending on how the fight goes. You get the dragon, and if enough people on the enemy team die after you've claimed it, you should be able to just roam toward that top side. It really matters who is able to get that mid lane wave control to be able to potentially transition that play into something else. But for the time being, it looks like that team is going to be Legacy. Amber. Places Talbo is just able to cut down these waves to size with that feather AoE. USA.
All right, but here we go. This is the fight. The Pop Blossom will pop the enemy team. And here we go. The shockwave as well will actually land onto no one. It's a double kill, triple kill coming through for Buck Joy. The Ambessa is online. Baron was up next, as yes, he managed to take out the Melio, but that is not the target.
Yeah, Valdanio is typing in chat, hashtag worth a 4 for 1 for Legacy Amber as they demolish the fight in the blink of an eye. Baron going to be a foregone conclusion. And after those resets, the dragon will be up. The soul will be available. The respawning Dorado members, they want to go for the soul. They want to try and stop it. But look at the other side of the map. Bok Choy is split pushing, is pushing the waves into the top side. You have so many different holes that you have to plug, but you don't have enough time to do it all.
And now here we go. This is the LA that we were expecting. This is where they could turn this series around. Shiro might have been caught by the vision that the Scuttlecrab provided. Has to use the clone to get away, but it's not going to be enough, and Bai will take him out. And that is going to be likely just a free soul as the support is already taken off the map. The public execution will miss. The steal potential is not there. Down goes the monkey, and that is going to be 2 free kills and Dragon Soul for LA.
Yeah, LA have dominated this fight. It took them a bit to warm up, to wake up, but they finally came to play, and they have dominated game number 3. Baron empowered minions pouring into the mid lane. 2 members of Dorado down. It's a 3v5. But let's see if they can try to defend. Let's see if they can try to hold on.
Oh, the flash follow on the W is not going to be enough to save the Sun. That is the Maokai just making sure that mid laner is locked down and taken out. Apex is trying to stand strong against the enemy, but oh, the Xayah actually dropping dangerously low. Doesn't have the ultimate actually, but now the public execution does land onto the support, but the Pop Blossom will only take out full clear land onto full clear, doesn't even take him out, and now Apex is the last man standing, and it won't be enough this time around. It's a quadra kill picked up for I Loves You in the top lane, and Ace and LA are now showing that they are not done. This series is just getting started.
LA with a dominating win in game number 3. Sorry, not sorry to all of those who thought they would get out early, but we are in for a ride once more as game 4 is just around the corner. Both of these teams have shown such tenacity in this series so far. And this is where it starts to get really interesting, Zaz, as both of these teams, you know, they're used to playing best of 3s. Now best of 5s, it tests your champion pool depth. It tests whether or not you're still able to play these strong top laners that you might not be as familiar with, might not be as comfortable on. These drafts are about to get a lot wonkier, a lot weirder, and much more indicative of who feels better in the best of 5 environment.
Absolutely, I'm so glad that we are seeing that fight that Legacy have been known for all season. Again, Bok Choy is just on a whole other level. That and Bessa was one of the best ones I have seen in a very long time. Finding amazing picks, amazing engages, 2 solo kills in the mid lane. That is just crazy gameplay coming out from Bok Choy. A well-deserved win for LA. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with Game 4 draft coming up as we finally have a series worth watching. Don't go anywhere. Some more semifinals action coming up.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
And then the room got a little more excited as finally we saw some fight back coming from LA. I have to say, these first 3 games, none of them were close. It was either one team was dominating the other in all 3 games, and finally we see the potential that LA has in this series as they were in full control of that game, I felt like, for the entire time. So yeah, absolutely going to be a very, very interesting game 4, as again, LA still has their back against the wall. They still have to find a way to win the next 2 games, and they still cannot drop any mistakes. They cannot lose any major team fights. That they have to find a way to continue the bounce back here in game 4. Quacks, how are they going to do that? Like, what is... Ooh, I keep hitting my mic. I'm so sorry. What is the plan here for LA to continue the momentum that they gained here from game 3.
It's a similar strategy, I feel, to what we were talking about in game number 1 or after game number 1's Ezekiel, and it was put Bok Choy behind, right? It felt like in game number, 3, we really didn't see a lot of Nissan, and we also didn't see any of Nashty whatsoever. That Corki might as well not have been in the game. It wasn't that it was useless or anything or actively like throwing the match. It was literally that we didn't see the 80 carry for Dorado Gaming Alpha for like 3/4 of the game. So I really feel like we just need to see not only more attention to the strong members of Legacy Amber, but we also need to see a little bit more activeness around the map. I kind of felt like Legacy as a whole were just more active, more proactive around that early game. I think Full Clear did a really good job on that Maokai. We need to see that same awareness come out from Dorado Gaming Alpha if they want to take this win in game number 4.
Absolutely. And again, so if we talk about momentum right now, it is very much in the side of LA. Dorado, they have to now. They still have the advantage, but momentum right now is on the enemy's side. How do they get that momentum and kind of throw it back in LA's face and make sure that they are in control here of game 4 and close out this series?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like the big thing for Legacy Amber, like you said, it's about that momentum, but it's also, I feel, about, going down that road with some of these crazier picks. I mean, now you're in B1, so you want to snag up as many of those comfort picks as you humanly possibly can, because we're starting to get down there. All of those champions that you see below the nameplate, those are disabled. So it's a lot of characters. In particular, I'm wondering if we're going to lay some of those bans that we've previously seen in all of these games, if we're going to see them maybe let go and maybe one of those slips away from here on out. We don't see a lot of variation between the drafts due to Fearless, so it's unlikely, but it is still possible, as that Gwen is just going to confirm we probably are going to see the same bans as.
Yeah, there are a few different ones. I don't think we've seen the Volibear banned. We've seen Karma banned in the second rotation, but I don't think I've seen it in first. So Ziggs, Pantheon, and Jace taken out on the other side. So going to be an interesting angle here. Yeah, but what I was talking about, Syndra has been banned in the first rotation all series long, and is going to be picked up here for Bok Choy, who again has been the most dominant player in this series. I think for both teams, Bok Choy has been a prolific performer for the side of LA. Excuse me. The response on the other side is going to be the Mel. Can definitely be a very, very good response pick into that Syndra. And Poppy, another champion that has been banned in all of the first phases, I believe, is picked up here on the side of Dorado. So definitely a very good flex pick, a 3-way flex. Could go into the jungle, top, or support. And it's Sejuani on the other side. So going to be paired up with hopefully some melees, and we can see what, again, just probably the most standard engage tank jungler in the game, and it is going to be placed Halbo on the Jhin. So what are you thinking of this first part of the draft here, as we finally see some of these picks taken out, and Vayne on the other side as well?
Yeah, it is Vayne. And I do gotta say, I think that this is a good pairing against the Jhin. I do think Vayne's aggression can sometimes be difficult for Jhin to actually counteract. This is something that Jhin is usually picked for, right? Like when you are looking at a Lucian or you're looking at a Kalista, I think Jhin has the wave clear to be able to deal with those champions. But Nashty, maybe on the Vayne, could prove to be a little bit more difficult. I think that Condemn combo along with the Poppy could make it very difficult for an immobile ADC such as him to exist in this world. But he does have a decent amount of peel off, considering that we also have the Sej and the Syndra. So there's plenty of space to be bought for the AD carry of LA. It's just a matter of if he can position right around those mid-game fights, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and again, I was talking about AoE being a big part. Vayne is the only champion in the game with 0 AoE, so definitely going to need to rely on Nissan on this Mel a little bit in those team fights, making sure that she can get a decent chunk off for the Vayne to finish off these targets one by one. We can see on the other side just more and more engage coming through as the Rakan, and now being paired up with the Aatrox. So 2 melees coming through to complement that Sejuani, hopefully get the permafrost stacked up a little bit faster. But again, this just seems like such a standard team fight comp coming out from LA. Tons of engage, tons of AoE coming through from the Aatrox, from the Syndra. This is just going to be your most standard standard lane. And finally, we see Apex is not put on tank duty for the first time in this series, as it's Rumble picked up here on the other side for Dorado as that final pick. Red side, 100% win rate so far in this series. What needs to come from LA with this comp to turn that around?
Honestly, I feel like LA have set themselves up pretty well, but I do think that this is another game where they kind of have to wait to actually pull the trigger. Syndra needs her splinters, Aatrox needs his items, Jhin also needs his items. So this is definitely going to be, I think, LA needing to play the waiting game, and particularly Folklore needing to understand his assignment. I really don't want to see this Sejuani pay any attention to this bot lane whatsoever. Jhin has got this. Leave him on an island, let him be. On the other side, I think Dorado, though, have a really solid damage profile. The thing that I'm looking at, though, obviously has to be Apex, like you said, first time off of a tank, and on a champion that is very different from the playstyle that we've seen him covet over the course of this series, being more aggressive, more prone to trades, and also more susceptible to dying. So we do need to see that extra aggression, but we also have to see that extra awareness around potentially not having any vision and pushing up too far.
Absolutely. And there is so much tankiness on both of these teams. Both have engaged supports. Poppy isn't really an engager, but still very tanky there in the jungle. We have Sejuani, who is full tank in the jungle. And I like the tank killing capabilities more on Dorado. You have the Vayne, you have the Rumble, who likely will pick up the Leandries. On the other side, you have Aatrox, who is decent. I think he does max health damage, but Jhin is not the best tank killer. So
No,
definitely going to be a bit more of a challenge here on the side of LA to carve through that front line. But hopefully we will see how they are able to accomplish that. Syndra can still 100-0 any target she can get her hands on, especially when ahead. And you've seen Bok Choy in this series be an insanely dominating player. So we will see how he is able to do that in this game on a champion that has been banned against him this entire series. So definitely now opening up a bit more possibility here for this mid lane to really unlock his full potential.
And it's a bit difficult to actually, I think, punish Bok Choy, because obviously, unless he, misuses that scatter of the week, there's not a ton of lockdown onto the Mel. Obviously, you have that root, but is extremely telegraphed and I think difficult to hit. Poppy as well doesn't deal a ton of CC until they unlock that ultimate. The best you can hope for is obviously slamming them into a wall, but that is conditional on where the Syndra is actually positioned. So I'm looking at Bok Choy's positioning. I'm looking at him to respect Nissan. And overall, I think if he can just play the waiting game on this pick, get those splinters, he should be able to operate as that tank killer you were alluding to earlier, Zaz, and carry his team to victory for potentially a second time to bring us to Silver Scrapes.
Again, backs against the wall for LA. They answered the call in game 3, pulling us to a 2-1 series lead for Dorado. They will have to do it again and again in order to make sure that they are the ones moving on to the finals. But again, no level 1 shenanigans from either of these teams. Maybe a little bit coming up from the Rumble as he's trying to get a looks like he may have gotten a ward down. Yeah, he did, onto that blue buff. So outside of that, they are still going to know where the Sejuani starts, but outside of that, no level 1 shenanigans for either team. But we will have to see, again, early on, both of these junglers starting on bot side, so looking to influence that top lane here. Again, you mentioned that the Jhin should be fine just on his own. So what needs to come from these junglers here in that top lane in order to make sure that their top laner is the one that gets ahead?
I It is just going to come down to who has better hands. If I'm being honest with you, Zav, this is a much more, I would say, skill-oriented matchup. One that I think Aatrox is a lot better into, especially once he gets some CDR under his belt. Really looking, particularly at that Spear of Shojin, to be that silver bullet that gets you the CDR necessary to, at the very least, keep your distance from this Rumble. For the time being, though, we are seeing a lot of emphasis on the mid and bot lanes. Both junglers are actually pathing toward the top side, contrary to what we have seen this entire series, where it has either been a split map or it has been fully bot lane focused. Now, they really want to get a piece of action on the top lane, which I think is probably the best move, though. I will say I heavily favor Dorado Gaming in the 2v2 if it comes to that.
And we have to see, just again, there is so much teamfight potential from both of these teams. We'll have to see just who is able to get that engage off properly. I would say, again, the tools are a lot simpler for the side of LA, as I feel like the only real strong engage is that Rel, while they have multiple options on the other side. So we'll have to see how that happens. The overheat coming through from Apex is managed just to chunk down by a decent amount. We will see. Hopefully, Bai does not get first blooded for the 4th game in a row. Is on a very, very safe top laner in the Aatrox, so hopefully will not be the case. We can see just how these junglers are able to influence that top lane early on.
Feels like it is going to come, sooner than not, as USA JJ is just about to finish up his full clear. You can see full clear himself actually already has. It is actually going to be the ward placed by the Sejuani that'll spot him out, but good reaction.
Yeah, the W from the Poppy will stop the knock-up here from full clear, as we can see a bit of a skirmish appearing in all lanes so far. The Scuttle Crab, it's going to be a smite fight. Who is able to secure it? It looks like it was USA JJ manages to snag that. The Permafrost will lock him down slightly, but now both these top laners below half health. The flash coming through as Bai. I loves you just asked to retreat, as Poppy had the step on the Sejuani here. Both the junglers now recalling. There is going to be interrupted here, as so far no kills so far, but slight advantage in the jungle there for USA JJ.
Yeah, it definitely is. You can see he's actually not concerned whatsoever about going for a double crab. He's actually maybe caught.
Yeah, he popped the W early, so Sejuani could have used the Q to perhaps look for that. So a bit of a preventative flash there from USA JJ, just nullifying any play before it even happens. So definitely erring on the side of caution here. Good decision to make here, as we are indeed in semifinals. Don't want to throw the game too early.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be flashes burned from 2 members, 1 on each side. You can see both junglers as well pathing down back toward the bot side to recycle those camps. I do want to see some more action from USA JJ. Obviously, he doesn't have that flash, so there is that added bit of urgency, because you don't have necessarily as easy of a time escaping. But he's just going to play it safe. He's not willing to go for a bot lane play. Instead, he's just going to keep doing him. Full clear, though, slightly ahead in the camp department and the tempo area. So we'll be able to, at the very least, go to top lane first, and maybe, at the very least, look to burn Apex's flash and even out the score of these top laners not having that summoner spell.
Yeah, because it's not both of the top laners. It is just Bai. So Apex now has a bit of an advantage, but does get caught here by the Infernal Chains.
Oh,
Apex
no.
I feel like if Bile had flash, he would have just been able to kill him. The equalizer is dropped. Apex flashes away, and I loves you finally showing some dominance up here in the top lane, as he is able to just out-trade there. Both flashes now used by Full Clear and Nissan, and now Full Clear is getting jumped by this Rel and won't have a way out. Doesn't have a Q, doesn't have a flash, and doesn't have a way out, as now it is Poppy picking up the first blood onto the Sejuani.
Good response there coming out from Dorado. Full Clear uses that Arctic Assault, but it is on such a long cooldown early that he's not able to get away. There's going to be some more skirmishing, but is likely not going to amount in anything. No kill to be had after the initial first blood. Bok Choy, though, now has that unleashed power, so should be able to put more pressure onto Nissan. You can see Shiro wants to respond to that.
Oh, a good scatter of the week there as Shiro's engage is completely nullified, but is it going to still be enough? Bok Choy doesn't
he's
have
roaming
flash. We do have Bai. I loves you to try and support his mid laner. The stun comes through, but here comes now 4 of the enemy team. The scatter of the week.
Oh, good
does
stun.
manage to snag the USA JJ. What a great play by Bok Choy, denying the gank and turning it around to even up the score.
Just an overchase there by Dorado Gaming Alpha. They went too far. Bok Choy baits them in and knocks them down. First kill going over to the Syndra, the big win condition, the big carry in the mid lane for Legacy Amber. Now starting his journey here with that
full
second
clear.
kill.
This is
Full clear.
This is a bit of an ambitious play now, isn't it? And that is likely going to cost him. Apex picking up the kill, as there was a bit of an invade here for full clear with no flash, no mid laner, and no top laner to support. So definitely a bit of a mistake here from the Sejuani, but hopefully will not cost them too much in the long run.
Yeah, certainly not going to at the end of the day, but Apex getting that kill, you have to believe will be difficult for Bai to actually overcome, as he indexed into a Hex Shrinker, so he's not going for offense. He is looking to just try and stop this rumble through items, not necessarily going straight for his own build path. And if he's not able to get some form of gold, it'll be difficult for him to get back on track. But speaking of getting on track, both of these teams falling in to the typical jungler trade. Dorado going to go for the dragon. Legacy going to go for those grubs.
Yep, again, just, you know, cross map plays, very, very common. If you can't get one objective, might as well just get the other one. Going to be interested to see how this, again, plays in the long run, especially with two teams that will do very, very well in the late game. I feel like stacking dragons is a lot more powerful to give yourself an advantage on those soul fights. So definitely going to be interesting, and without, you know, not a lot of split pushing potential on either team, definitely the grubs probably going to be less valuable in the long run.
I definitely 100% agree with you. I don't really think there is anyone in this game that is necessarily privy to side laning. The only person I could think of is,
the Glacial Prison is not going to connect, and the stun will not connect either, as a great reflect coming from Nissan, and now Bok Choy finds himself in a lot of danger. The ultimate comes through, and the feats of warfare are picked up on the side of Dorado.
Yeah, look, Valdanio as well actually had to burn teleport in the mid lane. As why is the camera not going to mid lane?
Yeah, that unfortunately we did not see how Valdanio was taken out, but again, LA just trying to force these plays a little bit too hard. Nissan right by the tower, and a great reflect, managing to not just dodge one of the stuns, but reflect the other one, and that is just going to be a huge mistake coming from LA.
It definitely is. Dorado 1 and 4 in kills. So we're gonna get a brief little replay as to actually how that happened. Thank you so much, observers. Yeah, the ult misses, and then full clear is probably just saying, all right, he's got it. I can't get over the wall, but he leaves his mid laner. His mid laner can't finish the job. And then, yeah, immediately after this happens, Valdanio.
He tries to W away. It is immediately E'd away. That is so sad. And unfortunately, just unable to make their escape. And bad goes to worse after that. And that's just really, really tough pill to swallow here. For LA, again, seeing the game slip away, they have to make some changes here if they want a chance in this game to stay alive.
They absolutely do. Their top lane is just running away with this match. Or I should say their top side a little bit more broad. Particularly those first items are going to start to ring in. You could see both Apex and USA JJ reset. They will pick up a Leandries and a Sundered Sky respectively. This will give them a lot more power in the 2v2s. So I do think that this is now where we really want to see Dorado Gaming attack. You can see USA is going to start his voyage on that bot side and maybe look to end his journey on that top side and punish Bai. We just want to try and see if Apex can get more fed on this Rumble, because if Rumble gets ahead, and like we talked about, Legacy not really having any tanks, they're just going to melt if these equalizers drop in the team fights.
Absolutely, and like we could see again, item advantages so far over to the side of Dorado. They have about 1,500 gold in the lead right now. Have a dragon, have a lot of tools going for them right now. We will have to see how they are able to impact the rest of the game. But here we go. Apex taking a full trade here from Bye I Loves You. And, you know, Aatrox at this point is very much a very strong lane bully. So we will see how he is able to navigate this. Although that, like you said, that kill going over to Apex in the jungle on the Sejuani definitely impacting this lane a little bit more than likely would have.
It certainly is. And the big difference, though, is certainly in the junglers. USA, JJ has been a lot more active around the map and a lot more successful in his attempts to actually influence it. But that's not going to dissuade Full Clear. You can actually see he is going to look for a lane gank as the Sejuani. It's a question of if Apex can react to the Sejuani ult in time, or that catches him. It's probably just a straight up death and a trade. Or not a trade, but just a straight up, 2v1 kill going over to Legacy. He's just in that alcove. He's just sitting there. We can't see him on our screens currently, but the minimap is telling a story.
Yeah, but doesn't look like much will come out of it. Apex does still have the flash, so wouldn't really have... hopefully would not have been too far, but here we go. We have a fight brewing in the bot lane. The flash has already been used by the Jhin to try and make his escape. If the curtain call comes out, will he be able to... The TP is there as well. We have a shutdown in the top lane, as well as Rumble did in fact go down, did use the flash. Bok Choy will also pick up a kill onto Nash, and that is actually going to be a TP response as well, but way too late, and 2 kills picked up at opposite ends of the map.
Yup, and it is all going to Legacy. They finally find their moment. Full Clear, he waits for a long time, but he still manages to make his mark. Arctic Assault lands, the CC chain hits, and it is a shutdown going over to buy this Aatrox. Finally in a position of relevancy, but Dorado Gaming, they want to punch back with this dragon.
Yeah, that was a great Glacial Prison there coming out from the Sejuani, followed up by the Arctic Assault. Just full CC lockdown. Apex using the flash, but I don't think there was any possible way that he was escaping there. So definitely a bit rough here for the top side of Dorado, but they will manage to snag. Oh, they were sitting on a ward. USA thought he could do something, but a bit unfortunate there. The Jhin W is not enough to catch Apex here. Does get knocked up several times. Might not be able to escape. The final grenade coming through, and Place Talbot will be able to pick up another kill onto Apex, who has definitely been the target the past couple games and not really able to snowball as he had in the first 2.
Yeah, Apex is being put down in these past couple of minutes, and not only is Bai getting a lot of gold, but he's also getting himself turrets. So now the Aatrox a lot more freed up on the map. I think Legacy will have a much easier time from here on out getting those 5v5s, and should be able to, at the very least, accrue number advantages through these exchanges from here on out. Meanwhile, though, Apex is more or less jailed in the top lane, and it's really difficult for him to actually push beyond that point because, I mean, he's been kind of conditioned to now, falling for it twice, basically saying, I don't know where they are, so I'm just not going to push. And that can be really dangerous with how instrumental we've talked about this Rumble being for this composition.
Absolutely. And again, we see the potential for LA. That was such a great play down in the bot lane as well. The TP coming way earlier than Nissan's and managing to pick up a kill onto Bok Choy, who again is playing so well, and on a champion that is one of his best. So definitely going to be interesting to see how he influences. There's about 1,000 gold lead right now on the side of LA. Definitely not zero, but not enough to say definitively who is ahead. So definitely going to be a massive team fight here as we see these objectives coming up here soon. But now Bye I Loves You. The Glacial Prison lands on Apex. just abusing this top laner. Absolutely does manage to get them down. The quickness now locks up Shiro as well, but now it's the keeper's verdict kicking out
Bai
the
is going too
Sejuani,
far.
and now Bai is actually going to fall as it's Nash picking up that kill, and
good
meanwhile
condemn.
is going to condemn him into the wall. The flash from Valdanio is not going to be enough to save him, so a perfect response coming from Dorado as it's going to be a 2-for-1 overall.
And Bai just over chases. He pops the World Ender, but it's into his own death. A 2-for-1 by Dorado Gaming, turned by the AD carry. And it is the Vayne that makes the most gold in that exchange. Now, the top lane turret belongs to Dorado. They will set their sights on the Herald. They should be able to turn this into another turret when the time comes. And this is going to net so many advantages over to DOG. The question is, how will they use them? They've unlocked a new win con in bot lane.
I feel like this Poppy as well. So far, 100% kill participation, has been involved in every play. That was such a good keeper's verdict, kicking out the front line, and all of a sudden, Bai had no one to protect him. And yeah, he went in, and without that Sejuani and without the additional front line and CC, just was immediately blown up. So definitely have to give some credit here.
You know, Apex going down, he can kind of be like the sacrificial lamb, right? Or the Trojan horse. The top laner for Dorado. Say, hey, come and get me. The team is just waiting in the corner right there, ready to counterattack. Honestly, it's a fair strategy if I do say so myself.
Absolutely. And again, the gold lead has shrunk, so we are almost dead even. This dragon now coming up in a minute is going to be the biggest fight of this series, and we gotta pause, of course. So that is definitely a sad direction as we wait in blissful anticipation for this team fight that'll be coming up in about 50 seconds. Okay, the pause, not too long. Thank goodness. Definitely going to still be a very, very exciting moment as both of these squads, it'll either put Dorado onto Soul Point or it'll put LA in a very winning position. We will have to see what both these teams are able to accomplish in this upcoming fight, as we are waiting for the pause to catch up here. As this mid lane.
And at the end of the day, I think that this fight is also going to be really instrumental for just buying time over to Legacy, right? Because we have talked about it so many times. Bok Choy is the win condition for so many of these games, so many of these matches. And now you just need him to get to those 100 splinters. If he can get time bought for him, if he can be put not on a timer to just side lane and accrue all of these minions, all of those stacks, and they'll be in a much better position. It's not just about denying it, it's also about just unlocking your team's win condition. And I think that Dragon take here by LA would do just that, as LA are wrestling control of the river. Dorado, though, are not far behind, and a teleport from Apex means that they are not giving up without a fight.
This is going to be the moment. The root lands onto Valdano, who does pop the quickness already, and the equalizer will actually not really hit anything. The keeper's verdict is channeled, and now here comes the curtain call. Take a bow, ladies and gentlemen, as here comes the Jin. The fourth shot is blocked. It actually will chunk Valdano quite a bit, but nothing has really come out. So here comes the Glacial Prison.
Oh, they got Apex again!
The stun comes through, and that is actually going to be a flash. The splinters will, or the unleashed power will not be enough. The keeper's verdict knocks out two, and all of a sudden the TP has to come back, but it's going to be the main thing is gone, and Bok Choy is down. Nissan picks up that kill, and is it going to be enough to keep him alive? Full Clear picks up the kill onto Nissan. Apex is very, very low, but trying to assist the team as best he can. Shiro will go down next, but overall it is all Dorado. And that is going to be a huge team fight win. 2-4-4.
What a messy fight. Everyone was scattered. They were split. They were on their own. But at the end of the day, Dorado Gaming Alpha are the ones that managed to win it at the end. And I gotta tell you, Zaz, I was getting a little bit worried. That equalizer was the big ace in the hole for these fights, and it completely whiffed. But they managed to turn it around. A beautiful Poppy ultimate turns it into a 3v5, and they managed to pick off those kills before those, knocked away members can actually return.
Yeah, it even resulted in by using his TP to just try and get back into the fight as soon as possible, and it just was not enough. Just the two frontline, like I think Valdano was dead at that point, so it was just the two frontliners that were just completely kicked out of the fight, which is huge, and so it just left Sidra and Jin all alone, and that was not going to be enough to keep them alive. Just an amazing play coming from USA JJ, who I think has been the MVP of this game so far.
Yeah, for sure. USA JJ has been so proactive on the Poppy. We said he needed to do this, and he has been delivering. Now is Soul point for Dorado. And Legacy, they're put on a timer now here, Zaz. They have to make something happen. They have to find a way to get an advantage before that next dragon spawns, but here we go.
Rakan might have been called. The quickness will charm up three of them, and now here we go. The equalizer is laid down, and the curtain call is out as well. But now it's 3 or 4 are ganging up on the Sejuani, and will take him out. Sidra falls as well, and that is 2 free kills to Dorado, who are now taking over this game, and LA are scattered yet again.
LA are quickly starting to crumble. Dorado Gaming in the 5v5s. They cannot be beat. We saw them weakened. We saw them battered and bruised in game number 4, but that was only because they weren't able to gather everybody for those team fights. Now the Otacon has started up. There's no jungler for LA. How can they possibly hope to contest this?
Okay, the Rift Herald has been summoned as well, but now it's actually a shutdown going over to the Jhin. But now with the Otacon dead, they are looking to turn this fight back around. 2 down, make it 3 perhaps. The Flash actually will keep Bai alive for a little bit longer, but will it be enough? Yes, it will. They aren't going to overchase this, but 2 more kills picked up. The Otacon secured, the Rift dropped, and Dorado are taking over the game.
Dorado are quickly, accruing a vice iron grip around this game, number 4, and they are showing no signs of letting go. 2 minutes until that Drake spawns, and Legacy, they're just trying to find some kind of advantage, some crack in the wall. They're focusing down that mid turret. This would help them extend that vision line. They will take it, but now it is going to have to be Bok Choy running for the hills. You could see just how tightly they have to play this macro. Otherwise, Dorado will be right there to punish them.
Again, this is the adversity moment for LA. They are down, but they are not out. They have to find some avenue back into this game to extend this series, or Dorado will be one of our teams in the finals. And we will have to see. This next fight is going to be it. Baron will be spawning soon. Dragon is up as well. This is the game-defining moment. This is where the heroes are made in this league. Meanwhile, we have a bit of a skirmish breaking out over this blue buff before the dragon even spawns. And now that Rel comes through, but it's going to be Dorado, the first ones to show up. But Valdano is already out of the fight. The World Ender is popped, but it's not going to be enough to protect this Aatrox. The Glacial Prison onto Apex is not enough. The Unleashed Power will not be powerful enough. And Nissan will take a full clear, will take out Bok Choy. And that might be the nail in the coffin of this series.
It's a 4-for-1 before the dragon even comes up. Dorado Gaming, they're surrounding Place Estalbo. They're trying to see if this Jhin will overchase. He's trying to trade, but it is just a bait. It is just a ruse. It is an ace for Dorado Gaming. Baron is up. Dragon is up. The objectives, the keys to the kingdom, and the ticket to finals have spawned. And Dorado Gaming are about to punch both.
That may have been the catalyst of this game. The TP coming into the bot lane. They are just giving up this Baron, and that might just be what Dorado needed to end this series. My goodness, this is going to be a big moment here. Although I feel like, again, the game is not over, but it is sure gotten a heck of a lot harder here for the side of LA. They are going to be able to snag this dragon, delaying the soul, but that is just a consolation prize in the overall scheme of this game.
At Dorado, they don't need the soul in order to win out those fights. They won that last one without it, and now with Baron, the siege will begin. USA JJ, though, is pulling no punches.
And here we go. Might be the last stand here for LA. Full Clear has already been defeated by Nash. And now Bok Choi's trying to find something. The equalizer is there. Nissan steps forward and is looking to finally put an end to the misery of this series, as finally that is the game opening play. The curtain has been called, but the curtain will close on LA as now they finally make their last stand, and that is not going to be enough. A rampage here for Nissan, Legendary, and Nash place will be the final man standing, and that will not be enough.
Dorado Gaming, they march as for place to Stalbo, and now Full Clear, they're the ones that stand between their team and the defeat screen that'll end their season, and it's not enough. It never was. Dorado Gaming, another notch in the Legendary Orgs belt. They're going to finals, Zaz.
And what a series. LA showed some fight in game 3. This was like, and game 4 here was probably the closest one that we've had as far as like both teams being in the game, but unfortunately it is not enough. LA falls, Dorado punches their ticket in and shows why they are among the best in Titan, and what a well executed last few fights. Well played to them, a well-deserved ticket to the finals for this squad.
It absolutely is. I wish I could say that this was something new for Dorado, but unfortunately, this isn't anything new. This organization is synonymous with success in the space, and frankly, they should be considered they should probably be considered the favorite, at least in my book, going over to finals. Not only are they 7-1 now, but they have conquered their demons. The team that took a game off of them, that defeated them in week 1, has fallen, has been felled, and they are not getting back up. So congratulations to Dorado Gaming Alpha. And as we close out here, thank you, Zaz, for being my partner in crime through this 4-hour-long journey, or almost 4-hour-long journey. Thank you to Golden and Loki behind the glass. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we will see you all next week as the conclusion to the Titan Immortal League finally hits center stage. See you all then. Have a great night.